So I'm going to start with the introduction of the book for myself, and then we'll go through the reading. So my name is Okwemi Redumare, and I'm professionally a lawyer, and I've been a lawyer for 10 years plus, more than a decade. And in that decade, I've moved across so many businesses, with music being number one. And because I see law as a social engineering, I decided to use law to change lives. And because I can't change everyone's life, I have to do one at a time. I decided to choose music. And because I can't change the whole music industry, I decided to invest in people. And what does it mean to invest in people? Is to be able to seek people out and share knowledge and resources that you have with them. And that's what brought me to writing Music Commerce in Africa. The hope is to be able to use this book to share knowledge, document and keep knowledge in history, and make sure that when people come after me, they don't have to spend the man-hours, time, and stress that I have had to go through to understand how to make money out of music, and to be able to counter that one narrative that make people don't follow their dream. So how are you going to survive on this? I hope that when I'm done, anyone who gets to make it here or watch this, maybe not now in future, is able to just see a thing of light and then understand that when you have a passion and you have a dream, the first thing you have to do in that thing is to make it the best. After making it the best, everything follows. So to delve into it, I'd like to I'd like to call on someone I met 2 years ago. When I met her, she was just like, I want to be in this music business thing, but I don't really know how, but I believe that there's a way. And I said, okay, well, I'm on a very small journey, it's just starting. Would you like to join on this new journey? And she was like, no matter what it means, I will do it. And she actually contributed to making sure the book came out at the right time, because she was the one fixing interviews, checking typos, speaking to editor, and obviously she was named in the book as one of the contributors. She works as artist and label services for Unicross, so I'd like to introduce you to Tyson, obviously. So while we wait for the mic stand, Alfonso Perez Soto is the president of emerging markets, Wana Music. I met him sometime in 2017 while I was at Boomplay. He has been a great supporter of the African music. He fought for the acquisition of Africori and Ziki Media by Wana, so that those two businesses get enough funding to expand their business in Africa. Alfonso also fought for the sponsorship of SAF Academy by Wana Social Justice Foundation. So Alfonso is a big friend of African music. He's also a big friend of myself. So when he read the book and I told him I'd like him to write it forward, he was very excited. And some of the things Tyson will read is from Alfonso.
Yeah. So, this book, Music Commerce in Africa, comes at a significant moment in the story of the music industry on the continent. For many years, there has been constant chatter about this so-called potential, but in the last 2 years, we have seen tangible display of endless possibilities. We are seeing huge breakout African hits such as Master KG, Jerusalema, and CK, Love One Team, the likes of which have not been seen before. We are witnessing the rise of African artists building real global audience and beginning to stand shoulder to shoulder with their Western peers. And most importantly, we are seeing cross-pollination of African sound, with a real infusion into the pop music lexicon. All of this points to the rightful ascendance of African music and artists and a correction of the prior state of affairs, with Africa being an afterthought for the global music industry. While there's a great cause for celebration, there's still a great deal of work to be done, and this is where our team is deeply committed to focusing our attention to build a strong African music industry anchored by professionals with comparable skill level to any other region in the world. From artist managers to marketing specialists to entertainment lawyers and everything in between. But the most important task, which I believe this book addresses, is overcoming the biggest misconception many people have, which is that Africa is a single market with a single music scene. Africa, with its different cultures, language, and context, is hugely diverse, and so is the music deriving therefrom. With over 50 countries, all with exciting local music scene, a one-size-fits-all approach simply doesn't work. A great deal of nuance is necessary with a view towards this range. This book provides an introductory primer in order to begin to understand the extremely complex structure underlining the intricate web that is the African music industry. This is the dummy guides to African music industry you never knew you needed. Alfonso Perez, President, Emerging Markets, Wana Music Group.
Thank you very much. You can sit down. Thank you very much for the reading. I'm sure if Alfonso was here, he'll probably say, please read it again so I can hear you mention my name. As I was saying, so when Alfonso wrote the part, if you heard carefully, she was talking about how one size doesn't fit all, and in over the 52 countries, we have more than 100 styles of music. And when I was writing the book, I did not know that the other letter that I was going to write to Grammy was going to get attention. Because fortunately, the letter we wrote, quoting this section of the book, is the reason why we now have the best African performance that looks at all other African genre, particularly the ones that have been played in the US. So when you look at that genre, I know that I saw Joey's article saying, oh, we don't want that, but it's the truth. It's not all Grammy, the US award. It's not all our genres that has crossed the continent. They can only recognize the genres that have crossed the continent. And as a lot of other genres from Africa begin to cross the continent, they begin to get listed under that category. But when I was writing this book, I didn't know they were going to accept it. Because according to them also, there was no express publication about all these genres. So my book is the first express publication specifically documenting genres. And I find that really very impressive because Africa is not Afrobeat. There's more to Africa than Afrobeat. And what Alfonso was alluding to in the forward introduction of the book is to make it clear that while all of us in the industry are kind of squeezing ourselves under the umbrella of Afrobeat, lawyers are representing only Afrobeat artists. Accountants are doing accounting for Afrobeat artists. Fashion designers are only designing for Afrobeat artists. Producers are only making beats for Afrobeat artists. What about the rest? Who does for the rest? Can Afrobeat truly employ all of us? It can't. And it's our responsibility as the next generation of millionaires and billionaires that the music industry will create, because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. We all cannot spend the whole money. Like all the active players in the music industry are not even 1/36 or 1/100 of what we need in the music industry, because we have the largest music, we have the largest population. Our music is about 60% consumed on the continent, so it means that about 60 to 55% of the money the continent pays for music, if the continent pays for music very well, will belong to our market across a lot of genre. The next market who has genre as much as we do is South Africa. So the book begs the question, when do we begin to see beyond Afrobeat and begin to see all the complex intricacies that means wealth to us? Fuji makes a lot of money. iLife makes a lot of money. Angelique Kidjo does not belong to the Afrobeat tribe. We've seen so many cultural groups go to the House of Commons in the UK to perform. Why is it so hard to build on this? We have an ever-growing diaspora audience and diaspora market where Black people are beginning to have the largest migrated population. They migrate with their culture. They migrate with their lifestyle and their music, not leaving it behind. So to set the tone of the book, I decided to bring someone who has been to all previous emerging markets like India, like South America, like even New America when America was suffering from piracy, from digital piracy, to write the forward of the book in order to shine light on the possibilities of what we can achieve in the music space, which is beginning to happen. We've seen Ashake bring back a genre called Tumba. Tumba was a fallout from Fuji, and Tumba is now infused to Afrobeat. We've seen Cavemen added electronic sound to iLife. And in the future, what the future is pregnant with is that majority of all these our genre will begin to leave the space, particularly gospel music. Our gospel music is predicted to take over Afrobeat in the next 2 to 5 years. And that is something that cannot be stopped. Whether the church wants to monetize music or not is another conversation entirely. But as internet penetration begins to grow, as COVID has led a lot of internet adoption by churches, so a lot of people who don't use music services are beginning to come up. Just about 3-4 days ago, about some days ago, rather, maybe almost a week now, Stars Academy released an album a song called Good to Me. And Good to Me has a lot of plays. And when you're tracking the flow of that song, you're seeing a lot more of gospel addition, like a lot of gospel playlists. It wasn't made by gospel artists at all, but it has a gospel vibe. And you see people like Apple Music, Spotify, who really don't like to pander to religion because of the society that they are from. They've been forced to change that for Africa. Because on Sunday, people are going to listen to gospel playlists whether you like it or not, create it for them or not. So it's not just in our daily life. It's beginning to affect the ethos, the DNA of other businesses who would cancel God in their literary writing. But when they have to sell to Africans, they have to. And so, my call to action for the introduction is to set the tone that whatever you're reading in the book is not just about Afrobeats. It's not written for Afrobeats. It's written for every genre that comes out of Africa. So I'm willing to take questions for anyone. Thank you. Any question? All right.
So I'm very interested in the last thing you said about the gospel music space. Sorry, so when you say takeover, right, and monetization, what exactly do you mean by taking over Afrobeat in 2 to 5 years? What is informing that fact or conclusion? What are the trajectories that you've seen that influence that data? I would want to know that.
All right. I'll speak about that more in other chapters, but just to shed light and show you some. Pre-COVID era, a lot of churches release their sermon every Sunday in CDs. And we try to convince a lot of them to not use CDs, pre-COVID era. And so because of the drive on pastors and churches selling CD sermons after, the CD culture still continued. So a lot of gospel consumers, church consumers, will also buy CDs. COVID era crashed CDs, sermons and churches. All churches now have their sermons on podcasts, Apple, Spotify, yes or no? Members also can realize that they don't have to buy 10 CDs to watch this song. It's all that the same subscription. That is the only trajectory you need. So when you go to churches now, you don't see CD stands outside anymore. Most of them, what you see now is now paper telling you subscribe or listen to them on Slacker radio, on so. It means that all these radio podcasts who never used to pay publishing performance royalties to Africa, in 3 to 4 years from now, they will have to start paying. Because you know why? There's no podcast that will beat Pastor Sermon on any platform. Do you agree with me? Yeah? It's a no-brainer. So you might not see a lot of the sermons now, but you can see the trajectory is happening. In about 3 to 5 years now, churches will probably not spend money on CDs anymore because they'll begin to see royalties. And what will happen is that in their sermon, they cannot remove music. And music will play whether they like it or not. And they will perform a lot of popular gospel songs. And in that space, the DSPs will have to deduct those publishing performance royalties. So a lot of songwriters in gospel will have to be paid, even if they're also the ones singing their song. So it's the way music works. Let me just put it that music is a force of life. Whether you like it or not, it goes. It moves with people's lifestyle. You read? Whether you prepare how music will be consumed or not in that lifestyle is another conversation, but music will find its way there. And that's the reason why Publishers Association are suing Twitter. Twitter doesn't have a choice. Music will get there. And when music gets there, you need to what? You need to pay. So it's the same thing. When sermons are crossing, and a lot of pastors now realize that it costs less to put sermon quicker, right? Once that happens, the same audience that listens to that sermon will look for Mercy Chinwo, will look for Frank Edward, will look for Tokwe Alabi, will look for Shola Alinson, will look for Evans, and so on and so forth. So the trajectory is so very obvious. And then when you see DSPs like Apple Music, who once said that Africa is not their focus market, but they're now trying to employ playlister or curator for gospel music, there's a problem. And where they're now using pastors as front covers of selected playlists, things are changing. So those are like the trajectories that we look at in that area. I don't know if I answer your question. Thank you. Welcome, Jeff.
All right. So can everybody? All right. So I think that one of the reasons why Africans have become quite important right now is because of how the export has been going. There are a lot of Nigerians there's jackpot syndrome right now. More Nigerians that have left the country will still listen to our music, and they now have way more purchasing power, higher purchasing power to be able to pay for concerts, pay premium for music and all. But that's not happening right now in the country. I mean, the cover of the book, one of the reasons why we are there 20% discount off is because of how subsidized those platforms are here. We pay cheaper for data streaming platforms than other countries that people have higher purchasing power. So what do you think is going to be the trajectory in the next few years in terms of how we are consuming music here? And what are the opportunities that every one of us that wants to be in that business can look for that would, like you said, more money will flow in, and the more money that is flowing into the country, that more people will be able to get access to it. So what are those opportunities that are available that one can look at and say, okay, this is where I should position myself within that space?
I think we'll discuss that in chapter D or E, but what I just want to say is that music has infinite opportunities, and you will see that when we get to the parts where we talk about how music are affecting businesses. I intentionally did that chapter so that to answer this question, everybody asks these questions, like where are the opportunities? Does it have to be blogging, promotion, marketing? Like where are the opportunities? And the opportunities in music are endless because you know why? Music is part of everybody's life. You can't avoid music. The problem music has always had is pricing, right? Pricing and the culture of taking. Music is the easiest thing to take. You can convert music in a flash, right? But please, pardon me till about D so that I don't take it over again. But the opportunities in music are endless. We are still, I won't even say scratching the surface. We are floating on the surface in Africa. We've not even touched the ground, not to talk of scratch the surface, not to talk of digging. Every money we are making in music that's making all of us excited now is nothing compared to what is actually moving around in the music industry. Music is making money. The only problem we have is, are we collecting the money? Are we claiming it from the users? And I'll show everyone before we are done. But because right now, the only users we are collecting and claiming money from is the reasons why we don't see other opportunities. I will do a juxtaposition when we get there between our markets and other markets. And not just Western markets, when I mean like other African countries, particularly Ivory Coast as a case study, who has taken its intellectual property, copyright really strong, and nobody in that country uses music for free. When I mean nobody, I mean those who play radio by the side road and sell sachet alcohol. Everybody pays for music. And in Nigeria, we pay for music also in some entities, but the money is not collected from them and deposited in the right places. Now, the reason why I'm saying those money points is because those money points are where the opportunities are. When you're talking about opportunity, you're not talking about revenue. It doesn't match up, right? So when we talk about where money is and where money should be coming from, you will see the opportunities there, right? So thank you. Done with the introduction. Thank you, everyone. Let me give Tyson a round of applause. Thank you very much. So while we were having our first session, I have Praise and Nyoha, whose law firm manages Ashake. Praise, yeah. Praise is a mentee. He and another mentee of mine own a law firm, and they've been doing good with a lot of producers like Magic Stakes, artists like Ashake. They have good, very interesting roster. And they'll also be one of my case points when I'm talking about investors in human. Right. So we also have Twitch Papi. Twitch Papi is also one of the 14 of 11,000 chosen at SARS Academy. Twitch, can you stand up so they can see you? We now have a big house. Yeah. We have Gimba. Gimba is also from SARS Academy, now 1789. Gimba recently has a new song from Whiskey called Blessings. It's one of them. Yeah. We have Odd Wave. Odd Wave is a crazy producer. He's also from SARS Academy. We have Millie May. Millie May is also from SARS Academy, one of the 14 of 11,000. Yeah. We have PJ Star. Same thing from TSC 1789. We have Darts, also a producer. That is very, very interesting. That is the only one who made it to SARS Academy without ever producing on a laptop before. He made his entry from his mobile phone. I think we have Fuzzy. Fuzzy is the youngest in the academy, 16. 17 now. Yeah. We have Ezekiel. Ezekiel is the GM of Digital Music Commerce, Chairman CKG. That's the richest, to me, that's the richest guy in the music industry. He's the most, to me, as far as I'm concerned, he's the most valuable person in the music industry because what makes our music industry valuable is information. And if you're looking for information in any catalog, whether it was 1921 or even before they did amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914, you can speak to him, and that's Ezekiel. I also have, I want you to remember your name. Olumide, yes, Olumide. I've known Olumide now for about 7 to 8 years. Olumide has been actively following the first SARS Academy that we did at Yaba. Olumide was there. Olumide has been actively following what I've been doing. I rather call him a great supporter of myself than even of anyone. And so thank you, Olumide, for coming. I really do appreciate it. I also have someone very, very important here. He's from Maven. He's one of my mentees when I was coaching Adenike. And I remember my encounter with him. Stand up. And he sent his first proposal in. He's founder of Junk House. Junk House is doing something very important, trying to bring the talent in South to Southwest, right? Discover them early, invest resources in them, and break them, which I think is very important because that's what we should be doing. That's what happens in developed society. You bring the talent from the rough, you develop them, and you bring them. And he did his first proposal, and I was like, I don't like this proposal. I don't think the proposal represents what is in your brain and what you are able to do. And it was interesting because he said, okay, just tell me what I need to get to, I will do it. And I think it was the next week, 7 days after, his proposal looks like a different person. I don't know where I had to do it, but that impressed me, and thank you so for coming. I missed your name. Ralph, Ralph, yeah, I wanted to Ralph. I was about to call him Jeff. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. Who am I missing? There's somebody behind. You're part of us, okay, yeah, you're part of us, not you. So I think we want to go to the first part, which is part 8. Who's taking that? Okay, so Fumi. Fumi joined my law firm, or our law firm, in last year, if I'm correct. And it was because my former partner was saying, we need a lawyer who needs to focus on contract, was very, very intelligent. We need that one person who can make sure that our contract moves faster. And I said, okay. It was Ezekiel then. Ezekiel said, let's put out an interview. And we put out an interview with 4 lawyers. 4 guys or 3 guys? 3 guys. And we had like many entries. And then Ezekiel rounded down up to 3 guys, 1 girl. And the interview was very basic. I just took out a full 360 contract and I tore it into 4 parts. So I removed, the contract was about maybe 36 pages. I shared it into 12, or maybe 8. And I gave them different questions. And I told them to solve the question. And there's no way you would know that question if you don't combine the question, contract together, which is what happens in music. You will never know the truth until you get all the facts. You must speak to every composer, you must speak to everybody. You must never work in isolation because music is not created in isolation. And in that beautiful room of 4 intelligence lawyers, including herself, she was the only one who got it. Every other person were working in isolation, trying to like outshine everybody. She was the only lawyer who brought all the things together. And when I read it, I think Ezekiel can remember, I said, this is the person we are looking for. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Funaya. At the head of chamber.
No, sister Fumi. Hi, everyone. Hi. Can you guys hear me? Yes. All right. So, I'll read it from part A of the book. We already know the title, Music, Commerce in Africa. And we have a quote here from the beginning of the book. And then after the quote, I'll go to the parts that interest me from that particular part A. So the quote says, it's from Sir William Thompson. Says, when you measure what you are speaking about and you express it in numbers, you know something about it. But when you cannot or do not measure it, and you cannot or do not express it in numbers, then your knowledge is of a major and unsatisfactory kind. So I'll be reading from the subheading, what is deterring revenue growth? The first point is unfavorable laws, policies, and copyright administration regime. The copyright regime and administration in Africa, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, is largely undeveloped when compared to the growth of diverse use and consumption of music, and how each country's law and policies manage the way stakeholders engage and transact. Also, the poor law enforcement regarding copyright infringement and the ineffective deterrence approach deployed in abating infringement is a huge part of the challenges which hinder the growth of revenue, development of the music industry, and the willingness of investors to put money into the industry. Intellectual property education isn't a part of our primary education in most African countries, and this has created a huge knowledge gap as regards legal exploitation and monetization of music. The poor copyright regime in Africa is part of the wider problem, which is very low participation of governments across Africa in the development of the creative industries and the strengthening of intellectual property laws. This wider problem is also responsible for the weak appetite of financial institutions in taking investment risks in the creative industry across Africa, thereby leading to brain drain and very low innovation and inventions. When we fix government participation in the creative industry, we will solve the majority of the problem faced by the music business stakeholders and also foster cross-border partnership in building much more viable music-powered industries across Africa. And the second point is unwillingness to understand the fragmented market. Just as language and culture in Africa are diverse, so is the music. African music is more than Afrobeat, gospel, Fuji, highlife, and pop culture. Even though these genres are the most popular out of Africa, there are many styles and genres of music spread across Africa that are yet to be digitized or whipped into the modern age of music consumption. In later chapters, I draw attention to some hyperlocal genres across Africa, their respective origins, and their prominent artists. That's it.
Thank you so much. Can you clap for me? In the chapter, I talked about the impact of our music in Africa and diaspora. I think Jeff mentioned something similar then. I just want to say that when you look at our music and just think about it as a product that people consume, that they enjoy in clubs, that they listen to in their cars, you might not get what music is. In fact, it would limit your ability to be able to exploit music. And you also, if you're trying to build a career out of it, you'll probably find that very hard. But the moment you crack the code and understand that music is a product of a lifestyle, whether human beings like it or not, humans will create music because humans will always what? Hum. Music starts from and because music is part of our lifestyle, it affects everything. In that chapter, I talked about numbers, beautiful numbers. music did this there, music make money here, music did that there. But I also talked about the problems. Lack of government participation, lack of contract enforcement, IP enforcement, lack of financing, poor government participation. And I could go on and on about this problem. But I think what I want to highlight in that chapter for our understanding is our lack of acceptance of music as a part of our everyday life that we need to pay for, or that we need to see beyond something that we enjoy. Music, when we were coming here today, I was having conversations with some of the readers on how has music changed fashion? Like how has music, what other cultures has music, but because our music has just made fufu one of the most demanded African food in the world, right? Our music has also gone as far back as make our slang, Pidgin English. Pidgin English doesn't really belong to us, it's a slave language, bastardizing English. But because we whip it in our music enough, then for the producers that are here, our dupa, dupa, pa, pa, our percussion has now gone far across the continent. If anybody has ever come across a song called Bolo, it's a South Korean guy, full-time, singing Afrobeat and mentioning Omalicha. It's Bolo, is it? Yeah, it's Bolo. Yeah, it's actually Bolo, yeah. Yeah, it's actually Bolo, but he called it Bolo, yeah. And it was in the song, he's saying, this girl, don't treat me like a Bolo. And to the point in the song, I'm saying this is a full South Korean song. You can check it on YouTube, BOLO. And in the song, he's saying Omalicha. He didn't change it to a South Korean name. And that is how far our culture goes. And when you say our culture goes that far, the question is, when the culture gets there, does it bring money back? So the idea of the chapter is to open our mind to the impact of what our music is doing on the continent and outside of the continent. On the continent, a lot of telco companies have become rich. I can remember 2015, MTN declared making $3 billion from coloring back songs. I mean, which led to the fight that monetization didn't happen again, because there were a lot of middle people. A lot of Indians made so much money from music industry. Ziki Media is one of them. So if telco, I mean, Coca-Cola one time was doing, what's that talent hunt in Kenya? Coca-Cola Studio. Coke Studio, yeah. And Coke Studio was making a killing on YouTube with their partnership with YouTube then. I can go on and on. When you talk about Big Brother, without the Friday party on Big Brother, is there a Big Brother? I can go on and on, but this impact, the question is the music industry making use of it? I mean, MCSN had to take MultiChoice to court for MultiChoice to pay for over 10 years of publishing use. Who can believe that MultiChoice doesn't collect riders and sheets from all the movies that they shot? So they don't know who owns the music on the movies. But anyway, Supreme Court ordered them to pay about 1 billion. But if I tell you here, would you believe me, that the amount MultiChoice has made from music is more than 10 billion in that space? They use music for ads, they use music for movies, they cut sound from music, re-engineer it to use it for a lot of ads, and don't pay the producers and the artists. I can go on and on. But if I go on and on, for people who don't understand what their product does in the market, it doesn't make any sense, right? So my intention in the book is, where is it possible to open people's eyes to see impact on a daily basis? Afro dance never existed until Afrobeat became a sensation. Now Afro dance is probably one of the biggest in DC. You have dancers in DC who now have dance studios just to teach people how to dance. Same thing in ATL. And it's just Afrobeat songs. Maybe some, yeah, I mean, when I mean Afrobeat, I mean African music. Let me say African music. So the real question is, are we following that trajectory? I think those following that trajectory, they lead to our record labels, because, Rema needs to perform, CK needs to perform, so they follow the data that they get on DSP. Oh, we can see people coming from DC. But that's like little, that's like 1 of 1,000. Because when music travels with sound, right? Travels with image and visuals. Because it travels with the two most important elements, you have many things you can sell. I doubt if the alcohol industry and the beverage industry in Nigeria can sell without music. But the real question is that how much of that industry goes back to the music industry as a CSR or as a percentage of that industry that goes back to the music industry. Don't worry, the Copyright Act has fixed that now. So we can't, when I was writing the book, the Copyright Act had not fixed it. So the impact that we all know is now the time, this is now the time to tax that impact. The law has given us the power to tax that impact, and it's our own generation that can enforce it. The generations way above us don't even know what we are doing. Majority of them think all of us are Yahoo boys. We have money to buy, we are making dollars. Most of our parents don't make dollars until they are 50. So what is the artist singing that you're signing $5,000, $10,000 deal? But they won't solve the problem because first of all, they don't understand the impact. They don't know how this music is changing lives, telling stories, revealing our fashion, creating jobs, giving us a reason to hope and promise that if you're not in banking sector, oil and gas, there's no industry for you. Because I don't think parents understand that impact of how the creative industry has created a fourth force for you to go into if you don't seem to achieve what your parents really want you to. And that's my point in that chapter. Can we see the impact and can we see the problem? And if we can solve the problem, if every one of us can begin to, in our little space, talk about government contribution. I mean, government has contributed now, so I'll be very honest. Government has contributed, they've signed the act, they've allowed us to tax everybody. Anybody who imports or produces a device that can copy music, flash drive, CDs, anything that can interact with music will be taxed. The real question is how much? So that's the question our generation is supposed to answer now. Because the Copyright Commissioner has to have a royalty tax board, a royalty arbitration board, a royalty dispute board. All those things will now start happening in the next 2 to 3 years. Who is going to be on those boards? Is it going to be the same people who caused the problem, or you and I? Majority of us don't know all these things will begin to happen because we do not monitor impact. So even if you don't end up maybe buying my book, but if you're on your social media and you hear somebody saying, oh, they're calling up a panel, and so they're looking for people to join the royalties board, royalty tax, so please think about the impact that you joining would make. Don't think about how much they'll pay you. Majority of the money they'll collect will belong to creatives. So the best way you will get paid is when you represent someone who is also paid part of those money. But you volunteering yourself to be part of those boards might not really get paid big money because artists will not let you take it. It's their way, right? But I'm 100% sure that the whole Lekki-Ekpe corridor has seen the impact of Afrobeats. VI has seen the impact of Afrobeats. If you remove Afrobeats for the whole of VI, even real estate there will crumble because there ain't no one coming to party to any club that music is not being paid, right? I know that in the coming year, you're going to have hotel association and clubs trying to blackmail the artists that you represent because the government is going to be pushing signs. This club pays for music. Or one with a big red one, this club does not pay for music. And clubs will probably start writing to your artists that we will not play your artist's song. Please don't think about the impact. Don't answer them. Tell them if they use music, they should pay. Because what they'll be asking for them is not going to be a price of one Azu to pay in a month. So it is this anecdote that I'm putting out there that I've also written about, not knowing that the age is closer to it for it to start happening. Does anyone have any question on impact? Thank you very much. Any question? Okay, if there's no question, we'll go to the next one. Before, you want to ask a question, Luke? Okay. Okay.
So, my question is, when you talk about impact, I'm coming from a different kind of impact. When you listen to music from people like Ebenezer Obey and Chief Sunny Ade, their music was very entertaining. People played it to celebrate when it's time for party. but there's also some deep underlying meaning behind the music. And now we're in a time where the music is danceable, it's celebrated, but sometimes when you take the time to listen to some of the most popular music, you can only just enjoy it. Sometimes the lyrical content is not so, like, the depth is not the same. That's not to kick the creative, but when we talk about the cultural impact and the psychological impact of the music, do you think that we need more balance? Or do you think that it's fine as we are, as long as the music is traveling?
I know my book focused majorly on commerce, so it's money. I try as much as possible to not wrap myself in social, immoral talk, because music itself, if you look at it from a religious point of view, none of us should be here. You know, the faith I represent says that music is haram, but there's a lot of conflict between it, because there's also music that is allowed in that area, which is just one drum sound, bam, bam, and that's all. Anything with harmony gets human being out of it. So that's just one part, but I get what you're saying. I think that responsibility is not for creators, because when you have a subset, a layer in your mind, when you're thinking of how you want to sing a song that will not make them think that you're telling women to shake yash, but you're thinking about women that want to shake yash, it's too much confusion for a creative, trust me. A creative wants to sing about somebody who wants to shake hands, just wants to sing about it. And the ones that want to sing about everyone wants to sing about it. It's the user that will find it. And I'll tell you the reason why. Ebenezer Obey started singing very worldly songs before he became a pastor on the cross. And in our time, maybe you don't know, you ever heard anybody called Orlando Owo? I can sing one of his songs. I'm all your politicians that are like gone. He has an album called Ganja System. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Then there's this popular song, Sonny is the most randy of everybody else. If you ever heard that song, Pamuroko to lie, that nice now he sang. That thing he was saying in that place is totally wrong. Like, all I'm just saying is that every artist will find themselves. And people will find what they gravitate to. Like, I listen to Kent Oxygen. I know you don't know Kent Oxygen, but he sings purely inspirational songs in Yoruba. I listen to Beautiful Nubia. I listen to, that's how Simi started. People, you know that if you want to do dichotomy, there's Simi's fan and there's Naira Marley's fan. I'm looking for one day when somebody will do open boxing between both fans. You know, because that's what you're asking me now is what led to Simi and Naira Marley's fan. Simi came one day and said that anybody dating Yahoo Boy, that they are not okay. And Naira Marley responded and said that, but it's the Yahoo Boy that is sponsoring your boyfriend. The record label for your boyfriend was Yahoo Boy No Laptop. So why are you abusing Yahoo Boy? The truth is that, but I listen to Simi and I also listen to Naira Marley. Nobody can, you know. The thing about it is that creators will create, right? I don't know if you ever knew Obesere in his prime. Egungun, be careful. Apple juice. Right? So, like, people will create. And that is why I'm always of the opinion that people should not bring morality or social morality into music. Creative space is a place where everybody's allowed to express. You don't like it, leave. You know, I used to go to strip club when I was very, very young, in my 20s. Now I don't go. And it's not because I'm still a man, I won't lie, but I cannot seem to put women in that light in my head now, because now I'm not open to knowledge. So to see women do that for me kind of irritates me now. But before, it was the in thing. Does that make sense to you? But I cannot tell people that go there now and say, music should not be played there. No, because in fact, that's where people consume music the most. So I think the question of morality and creativity is going to be a battle till the end, till the world comes to an end. But the idea of creativity from the creatives that I've been close to is to be able to express your mind where there's no judgment of sound, where there's no judgment. Normally, if I come here in this video and start saying, look at me, I've got this, I've got that, all of you are going to start saying, hey, what's going wrong? This guy's cuckoo. But if I sing it in a song and you guys hear it, there's a probability that you guys won't judge me. A lot of artists are using their music to express themselves and their soul, but majority of us don't know. We think it's a joke. We think it's fun. But if you take that music from them, they might actually, if you take music from Portable, you run mad. It's not a joke. Music has transformed Portable's life. You might say he's immoral and everything, but look at him and tell me that music has not changed his life. And for once, tell me if, imagine there's a law that bars him from singing. So in my own opinion, I've always said, like, moral impact is very personal, right? And that is why even in the law, for the artist also, the moral rights is also very personal. You know, moral rights is not dictated. If I don't want my song to be used in LGBTQ movies, you know, I tell my publisher, remove that for me. You know, put that there. Anytime anybody says I want to see the synopsis of the movie before you add my song. Right? So it is in this context, it is between the user, the creator, and the user. If a creator creates what you like, you consume it. If a creator doesn't create, you leave it. But if you let government and players come into that space to censor music, to begin to hammer too much on impact, you're going to have a problem. And that's the reason why when people said that R. Kelly's song should be taken off on Spotify, I disagree. Like every culture that you know, whether the clothes that I wear is explosive here, or is nice here, or is split here, or the words that I use in my music, whether I use, do you understand? It's usually when you boil down to it, it's on a spectrum. And the spectrum is, when you trace it down, it ends up on the moral spectrum. So what I did was, instead of addressing your own mini school, I addressed everything to cover whatever anybody might have to say on that area. Because I'll give you an example. Nigeria has a policy called Local Content Act. Go and check Apple Music and Spotify. It's not being followed because Nigerians are listening to whatever they like. The local content are there. If you like, put Nigerian content, 60% is a lie. People that want to go and listen to Bad Bunny, you go and listen to Bad Bunny. Yes, the law is giving exposure. But to be very honest, music is not one of those things where you can control behavior to listen to. The first time the Beat FM brought Migos to Nigeria, Beat FM was shocked. Because if you see the crowd that came to look at Migos, like, who knows Migos and Quavo? I'm not joking, it was filled. Even Migos and Quavo were like, okay, for this Nigeria, Lagos. Do you understand? So, like, and I think that it begs to the human beings, as we have a set, what do I call it? What's that name they use for somebody that is not somebody who they say they have? Yeah, human beings have a set level of hypocrisy. You know, we all come out to say, I'm fully Nigerian, I'm fully blown and everything. But majority of us are paying for Apple Music, but to listen to international songs, but we are downloading our own songs for free. You know, those are also cultural nuances that is part of us. Thank you very much for me. Thank you.
I'll be reading from Part B, page 71, with the title, Royalties Administration and Computation. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. It should be not less than a tenth, no matter how little you earn. It can be as much more as you can afford. George S. Clason, in the book titled The Richest Man in Babylon. The subtitle most interesting to me is from page 73. How do labels, creatives, and everyone connected to the music get paid? A certain percentage of the net EUP/music price, subscription model, or net advertising revenue ad-supported model, which ranges from 40% to 65%, is paid to the specific entity or persons who have licensed the music to the platform. It is the licensor who has the responsibility to pay everyone connected to the music except publishers for use of music composition. The right to copy composition is licensed by publishers or collective management organization, CMO. Platforms who use music are saddled with the responsibility of seeking publishers and CMOs per territory to get a license. Platforms are also responsible for adequate and compliant reporting for the publishing license. Licensors get paid for sound recording, while publishers and CMOs get paid for music composition, mechanical and performing rights, respectively. I think I can stop here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think this is like the shortest back of the book. Royalties is everything. Royalties is the reason why everybody's in the music space. If you remove royalties, maybe a lot of people will be singing again, right? And royalties is why I'm here. All this book, the basic beside it is royalties. If royalties is not there, we'll not all be here. It's royalties that we all feed off from. Either the royalties given to our clients or the artists in advance, or the one we collect in future, is all around royalties. And like I've said, I think I've touched about it. In future, we're going to have so many cases, so many disputes. Even maybe me and some people in this room, and maybe me and people out there, yeah, because royalties is something everyone does not trust. It doesn't matter, even if you use computer to send it to me. When my expectation and the royalties don't meet, there's always problem. An artist that says like maybe 5 million streams, in their mind already things are worst case scenario, that's $50,000. I don't want to hear anything. But if they send the artist report and the artist says $2,000, 50 million streams, $2,000, we must burn the world. But unfortunately, that can be true. There's ad-supported stream that makes little or less for you, where you have to make at least $10,000 to make 10,000 streams. 100,000 streams to make $30. And that varies across several markets. And then there's now what we call stream farming. That doesn't even click, because for you to get into ad-supported stream or even subscription stream, your song has to have been played for 30 seconds plus. That is, it's only 30 seconds it counts as one stream. Most people don't know the difference between play and stream. If your song, if you listen to a song, and after the first 15 or 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, on the 29th second you skip the song. You played the song, but you've not streamed the song. The difference is that you heard the song, but you did not pay for the song. So if your song has 50 million plays, it's €0. Like Audio Mac. Yeah. If your song is on a bot, if there's a bot that's playing your song, because the bot has to skip for it to be detected as a bot, it has to play more than 30 seconds for Spotify to detect as a bot. So the bots, you will pay for the bots guys. They will play your song 100 million, you enter charts, but royalties 0. Now the reason why that is because a lot of artists, like I agree that in the lifespan of an artist, there are 3 stages of an artist. An artist wants to get heard, later they want to get known, and later they want to get paid. And then after that, they want to become stars, legacy. Every artist, every creator goes through that 4 stages in their entire career life. Right? There's a time you just want someone to hear you. You just want somebody to just hear you. There's a time whereby you want to be known, you want to be popular. Money doesn't matter. And there's a time where, as I don't popular reach like this, now money remain. And after that, there's where you want to become a star. You want to be known, you want to be authoritative. Those 4 stages, every artist must go through it. But you see, some people get stuck in stage 1. They think they have money. They spend 50 million. They spend 100, but they're always spending on that stage 1. They don't know. Some people are in stage 2, and they are going to get stuck in stage 2. Majority of the artists get stuck in stage 2 and 3. In fact, 90% of every artist in creative in this life will get stuck in stage 2 and 3. They will never get to stage 4 to become legacy. Majority will get some, like about 20 of 100% will get to stage 3. where they will make money and they will fall back to stage 2, where they become just popular. It used to be popular. Why I'm saying this, because this chapter is the one that talks about the intricate reasons why we are all in the business. When your client is not making royalties, you have a problem. Because you know why? They will not book your artist forever. They will not engage your artist forever. Many revenue streams will not last forever, but the one that will last forever is the one that started a career listening to the music. And if you've built a culture of your talent or your artists, or a business around people consuming free, it's definitely sure whatever noise it creates for you will not sustain your royalties. And that is why when you're in this business, royalties is everything. If it does not lead to royalties, don't be interested. Because even when you pay your artist, for example, in London, your artist goes and you pay him $100,000, your artist himself will still have to sign set lists. Because the organizers of the show will have paid O2 for performance. So as you are finished performing again, they are crediting your account again in about 6 months for performing there again. That's apart from the money you go home with. Then if anybody from there creates video and upload it to YouTube, YouTube will pay you royalties directly and you get another performance again back to that period. So every point of the music, royalties must be there. So when you are tracking anything or you are trying to use music, you must ask, before you go to any creator or any lawyer, ask yourself, this thing that I'm going to ask for, where is the money coming from? How am I paying for this thing? Or what is paying for it? One-off or residual? It doesn't matter whether your song is big or small. Nobody has a 200, nobody has sing any song in this life that all of them was a hit song, not even Michael Jackson. Right? You have hit songs, you have bad songs. But what should be regular in all of them is royalties. If they don't make you royalties, there's a problem. And if you're spending money that also leads to royalties, there's a problem. So these days, I probably interview a lot of people that write exams, music exams, and they want to get into job. And the reason why 90% of them fail is that they will write sweet budgets, 20,000 digital marketing, 80,000 promotion, radio on this day, very sweet one. But guess what is never there? Where is the money going to come from? I mean, after all this, like we have spent $100,000 on marketing. Where do you project money is coming from? If you tell me to spend 50 million on radio, where is it? But how is radio going to lead to money? How many Shazam does radio guarantee me? And from Shazam, how many of them will go to Apple or go to Spotify or do subscription? What is the funnel? It is the reason why, after I spoke about impact and made royalties the next thing, is because once music has gone out and has gone to impact the world, what is the next thing you're expecting to come back? Exactly. You know 1 year story. The moment your song is going out and 6 months, you are not seeing numbers rolling up anywhere, there's what? There's problem. So after impact, next is revenue, money. And my position is that everybody can make money. Just don't try to make money that you can't fund. And this is the truth. If you have a talent, or you have a project, or you have a music, whatever you're doing, the most important question you must ask yourself, this thing that I've produced, who is going to pay for it? And where are they? If you can't answer those two questions, don't bother yourself. Throw the product away. Because if we don't know where they are, we don't know where to push to. And we don't know where to push to, we don't know where to collect money from. And this is the question that nobody in the creative industry, particularly talent and managers, answers. They just say, this guy is the next big guy. Just put money on him, he's going to blow. If he doesn't blow, it's the radio guy that didn't play very well. And it's the blog guy, these are the wrong time. When he drops songs, CK drops song too. All those things are no excuse. They don't work. Right? Like I know people, artists that you all don't know, who just release songs on their Telegram. They throw their songs on their Telegram. They share it on their Telegrams. And because they share it on their Telegrams, it affects their Spotify and Apple following. So the Apple following is so organic that they know that when they drop a song, it bad as it bad, in like 1 month, it could do 100K. In 1 year from now, those are the only artists that will be getting investments. In fact, not 1 year. As I speak to you now, I have like people in Western markets who now send me a list of artists that have like maybe 11,000 followers, and then maybe like their biggest song is like 20K streams. They don't, all those stream farming ones don't ever make it, because you know, right, there's an algorithm now. Once you enter the artist's name, you say this one, illegal stream, illegal. What's that word that he writes? Illegal stream. No, fraud. Fraud stream. Yeah. I've entered many artists, Nigerian artists that has a lot of millions of this. It says fraud detected, yeah. Because it doesn't make any sense, right? How do you have 20 million streams but no royalties? Yeah. So I mean, to just round up this part, I just want to say that like a lot of us are in the music industry and we believe we have talents. Like, I have the best talent in my hands. I heard him perform. I get talent, and I'm never going to be against talent. But if it's where you want somebody to put money in, because that's why this is music commerce in Africa. I'm not talking about music talent. It's money. If you ever have a talent you want someone to put money behind, better be very sure that person is already making money. Or those the person is singing to make money. I saw Portable's, which is my last on this. I saw Portable's post. 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, I saw Speed Darlington's, what's his name? Is it Speed Darlington? Angua, what's his name? And he says, now poor people, they put song for Audio Mark. I know they put one for Audio Mark. He's correct. I know you guys can laugh at him, he's correct. Audio Mark was not designed for monetization. It was designed for that first stage I told you guys of, stage 1 and 2. To get heard and to get known. Audio Mark is not designed for monetization. SoundCloud is struggling to become monetized because they started as Audio Mark. And that's the point of culture and lifestyle. It's very hard for you to be giving somebody for free and wake up and say you want to turn it. SoundCloud started way before Spotify, but Spotify is struggling to get people to subscribe. Once you see once you see subscribe on SoundCloud, people delete it and go away. I was speaking to Mike Sigelio from SoundCloud, and they are currently struggling. They are trying to do artist fan powered, so many illustrious things. But I told them, I said, you forget the most important thing in music. Music is a lifestyle and a culture, and you've not built a business that is in tune with paying. People would rather, if you tell people to pay, they will go and pay on Spotify. They will not pay you SoundCloud because they know you are not a paying person. You don't ask for money. Why now? So it wasn't, that wasn't wrong. And it's the same thing with Portable. Portable said, all of them, they reach one, number one. I never enter charts, but I go show. If you do enter chart, how many show? He's talking to Sheyi Vibes. But what he doesn't understand is that the audience are different. It is true Sheyi Vibes will be farming and everything, but his audience are audience of people who just want to hear somebody new. They believe in your dream, but they can't match their money with any streaming. If you don't reach, make we pay, bye-bye. Because even the shows that it's going for, the audience are not paying. It's a sponsored show. He's not going to a ticket show now. Nobody calls him to a ticket show majorly anymore. It's usually a beer company, alcohol company, political company. So he himself does not know that difference. That he is still playing to an audience that doesn't pay. He is an ad-supported audience. He is just mixing ad-supported online and offline. What he's still doing offline is ad-supported. Because it is supported by the ad of the sponsor. The sponsor is playing it as ad. So he is singing to an audience that cannot pay. And it's not new. Terry G sang to that audience. AY.com sang to that audience. We've always had artists who sings to unpaid audience. Who brands pay for people to enjoy. We also have ones that are money. So he's performing to an audience that is used to payments. Even before Lagos knew anybody called Flavor. And that is what it means to know what you are doing and what you are doing for, the royalties, the money, the computing of it. Where has my music gone to? Who are those paying for it? If you have a client that is doing music for you to just popular, leave him. He doesn't need lawyer and manager yet. Yes. If you have people who focus 100% on they just want to get, they don't need lawyer and manager yet. What they need is to be jumping shows and promoting their SoundCloud. They are not in the commerce space yet. They're still trying to discover themselves. They're still trying to know who is who. You know, I met an artist like 6 months ago. He used to be a video director, right? And his first, he had a song before, but his first major song, he put money behind it. And in a week, in every 7 days, he doesn't have less than 7,000 streams. Legitimate ones. You know why? He's not waiting to be heard or to be popular. He wants to make money. So he's singing, doing every right thing that needs to be done by just focusing on doing the right things. So I'm not saying don't get heard, don't try to be popular, but don't go into the music space, bringing people together, saying you're doing something revolutionary, you have the best talent in the world, but you're not answering the main question. What is it? Money. Managers need to feed, lawyers need to feed, PR people need to feed. They have dreams. I mean, like, you are dreaming to become star, they are dreaming to manage star. Match it up. Thank you, everyone. That's on that chapter. Question?
I really want to go. My question is sort of contrary, and it is also quite, I would say shocking, but because that is what Joseph 7 really like promotes, that see, at every single point that you are as an artist, you should be able to monetize. Even if you have 10 audience, right? Get 1 or 2 that can support you and move it, and move that forward. However, I want to say that, we're talking about commerce and all of that, and I'm going to talk about just still commerce. Monetization for an artist. When does it become like quite dangerous for their creativity, right? Because it's a thin line between doing music for the money and doing music for your soul. You said that music is a soul thing. Whatever it is that you hear artists say, that is exactly what is in their mind, and it's a channel of expression. So how do you balance as an artist, or how do you ensure that your artist, balance that doing music for your soul? Because there are people that also are going through what you're going through, right? And that is where the connectivity, originality, and even the fandom comes from. How do you balance it? Because when you see it, when you see what artists do these days, you realize that there's just something off about it. They're doing it because of the money. Let's not forget that Ashake's sound is also becoming a mainstay. And I heard that mode that should be for my country. I'm like, this guy is saying the fact, because everybody's trying to, put harmony and all of those things behind the music now, right? So how do you balance it? Because you watch videos, and that goes to what he says about, culture. I believe that music artists should not just be musicians. I believe that. And there are a lot of things about us, because music is also our identity. Let's not forget that. And what we put aside the sound, the identity, you see people trying to put some certain imagery into their sound because they want to attract certain audience for the money. How and where do music executives, technologists, and everybody, draw that line to say that, see, we are Nigerians, however it is, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Tiv, and all of that. We're not Americans. Let that also be in our music, aside the sound, the visuals and everything. And not just make everything about money. Fine, it is about money at the end of the day, because if we're not talking money, why are we talking at the end of the day, But where do we draw that back?
Okay, so so there's I'm going to say this now. We say it's I'm sure majority of you have seen it before and everything, but there's 2 sides to music, right? There's music industry and there's music business. This conversation is for the music industry. The music industry can go around setting rules, promoting culture, talent well-being, talent health. We on the music business side, we are the shoot guys, right? Where the music industry stops, we music business starts. I'm not in the music industry, so you don't see me in the bar, you don't see me in club. I'm rarely there. And I really don't know what is going on the artist side of things, and I don't bother myself. I have partners who live that life. You know, Saz is my partner on the business side. He's involved with anything creative. You can ask the boys there, Saz they talk to, or David. I don't bother myself because I don't know much about it. I'm not a creative. I don't know what goes on mentally. And I know that it's a special area. I like to focus on the business and the commerce because that's very logical, straightforward, and I don't have to touch on what matters a lot to people. First of all, I'll now go to your question. To be an artist is to be insane. To be an artist is to be abnormal. To be an artist is to be shameless. To be an artist is to ignore the noise from you and from outsider and choose what you want to do. So it's not, first of all, it's not easy being an artist, right? And where do they draw the line? I don't think there's ever going to be any instance drawing the line because you see, everyone else that you mentioned aside for the artists are doing it for the money. I think that's one big lie that moves in the music industry. Nobody's passionate about you when we talk about business. Let's be very honest. Ashake has been doing music since OAU. I've known Ashake since OAU. It is not my fault that somebody who wants to be an artist that is ignorant believes Ashake's career started last year or 2 years ago. If you're an artist and you need to do something for your passion, it's your job. It's your passion. It's your job to study history, to research, to meet people, to go out. Social media is not how to create music or to connect with people. Go to the real world. Meet people. Talk to people. Visit studios. Connect. Right? Nobody's going to draw the line for you. It's your career. It's your passion. It's your talent. People who join you for money. Let me say it again. It's a lie because nobody follows upcoming artists around. I'm sure the team that followed Dumo Duna is time Subo follows him when nobody knew him. Nobody can maintain the team Davido maintains in Africa. The team that follows him. Is there anybody that can maintain that kind of team? You know, they eat, they sleep, they also do what celebrities do. I won't say that here. Yeah, they do everything. And sometimes I ask myself, does anyone think about what those bills cost for we lawyers that look into royalties? It's a lot of bills, right? To fly yourself, your talent manager, your road manager, and your lawyer to just one city to perform, it's not a joke. So if you don't have money as an artist, somebody's going to try to lie to you that, oh, believe in yourself. No, you need money. So what I'm saying is that if you're in the passionate stage, it's okay for you to be in the passionate, but at that point you're in the music industry, you are trying to find your way. The moment you start hiring manager, lawyers, you start hiring most of us in this room, it is presumed that you started making money. You shouldn't hire anyone in this room if you don't have a path to making money. Even if the only part you have to making money is an advance, like, yeah, somebody has dropped $100,000 for me in about 3 months, I'm supposed to work to reach that $100,000. Then you can employ a lawyer, a manager who can begin to set the road, right? But do you know how many people have passion? Like, for music? I used to be in that space before, but I realized how toxic and dangerous it can be. Where you are carrying so many people with passion on your back, but knowing fully well that it's only one out of all the people that will make it out. It's that lie that's leading to so many depression. There's another lie also, which is currently being peddled around now, that you become a star forever. It's not true. Someone like us knew Majek Fashek in the days of Mama. Someone else knew Aruna Shola. Aruna Shola was so rich that he had the only license to import brand new cars into the country. It was so rich he had a fabric company. Aruna Shola was so rich they built a museum for him in the UK. No, but has anybody been able to transcend that? Sonny Ade had featured in so many Nollywood movies. No one has been able to break that now. So whatever we achieve in the music industry is not new. What happened to us is that we had a military era from 93 to 99, And in that old period, a lot of things broke away. So it was very hard to connect. The dots that is missing from our generation is that era. Somebody needs to help us connect back 92 to 99. That's what truly needs to happen. But I'm saying that because a lot of artists think that music industry started in 2010 or 2000. No, it did not. And passion will always be there. There will always be winners and losers. But you see, in the commerce of music, which is why we are here today, unfortunately, we only deal with winners. None of us here will last 6 months managing an artist who is just saying, don't worry, I'll be blue. I mean, the people that are invited and are sitting in this room because of your experience in the music industry already. Yeah, you're laughing, it's the truth. You will say, no, I'm not. There are some new people that are coming that can be your peers. This is the reason why our generation is the generation that is monetizing music properly. No generation in Nigeria has been able to monetize. So we don't have anybody before us. Those we have before us were just people who rose through music. There was no structure, there was no community, there was no government involvement. So everything is new. So if our generation focused too much on the music industry and how we want to make 100 people become superstars, when we know it is not, we will end up like our forefathers. Some of us has to be the commerce guys who know the truth about the business, that only few will transcend to make money. And we have to build an industry around those few so that we can have a pipeline. And I'm not advising you on what I've not done before. I have an example. SARS started SARS Academy in 2015. We took about 20 entries. Only 2 of them are in the music industry now. STG and KJ Sumon. We did another one with, 3. TMXO2 is part of them. We did another one, batch 2, that had 15 of them. Only 3 of them now, majorly. Duni, Tempo, and Prime. And don't get me wrong, those were not even the initial one. The initial ones, one of them who was really, really forward-looking. But only a 2.5 million naira deal sent him back to rehab. Yeah. I'm just letting you know, if you're in the music industry, you will see so many things that if you're not careful, you're not going to make it out alive and you have no money in your pocket to build a dream. Right? So for us in this room, we don't care about the music industry. Maybe if I have another meeting, I say, hey, music industry guys, we are the business guys. Our concern is basic. We see talent that has promising paths to funding or promising paths to money, and we build structure around him. We know what he requires to make those money, and then we pivot into the future. Simple. My other experience was last year when I got about 11,000 applications to SARS Academy, and we had to go through so many. Don't worry. If you want to sign people, we sign at least 20,000 people. I will sign about 2,000 people from that list. If it's about being good, don't worry. Nigerians get talent, passion, day. Somebody even sent 6-minute song when I said 3 minutes. Jam 2 songs together. These talents, you go see them. If what I was doing there was being from the music industry, we would choose mediocres. But after we choose talents and streamline talents, we had to go and look at the answers to their questions. How do you undo failure? What do you think brand is? What is your biggest challenge? How do you develop yourself? Because that's what makes a superstar. Somebody that fails and don't want to repeat again cannot be a superstar. Because from the moment you start becoming successful, you be somebody somewhere, something. If you don't have baby mama, you get on drugs. If you don't have on drugs, fans will attack you. One thing will happen. And if you give up, everybody's money is down the drain. So we ask all those questions because you are supposed to be the best of your kind. And people who are from different backgrounds and family will revolve around you to build their own lives around you. That's what it means to be a superstar artist and successful artist. Yes, people will have no choice than to build their own lives around you. And at that point, you become a business. So if you are not mentally, if you do not understand that this is a business where money comes in and goes out and people around you need to survive and feed their family, you're going to create monsters around you. You're going to create a manager who is trying to share spotlight with you. When you're taking pictures, you start becoming paranoid. You're going to have a road manager who is going to be booking shows for you to steal from your label. So your manager will be doing, when your record label and your manager is saying, no, my artist does 5 million naira show. That's the brand. You and your road manager, you're stealing shows, going to be doing 300K club appearance. I'm telling you, these are real life happenings, right? That is when you start telling your manager, saying, just do for song. No, just drop out like that. No matter what, waiting happen, just drop out. But that song is sending you back to your village because once you release it and it's nothing, the label looks away from you. All I'm just saying is that for we here, or those that have invited, even the artists that I've invited, are people who have expected that they've grown out of the music industry to become music business professionals. They are not concerned about people's passion anymore, not because they don't believe in them, but they only believe in those who have gone the extra mile to put a gas engine behind their passion and pivot into the music business. The music business is like the other side of the mountain. If you don't climb it and jump to the other side, the professionals are just there waiting for who is successful to jump in. If you don't jump in, sorry. But if you don't jump in, the music business guys are not going to climb the mountain to come and meet you on the other side. You know, I'll give you an example. Twitch, is Twitch still here? Okay, Twitch and Gimba, they both got into SARS Academy out of 11,000. And guess what, guys? They were in the studio recording when both of them applied. And they just applied like, okay, let's just apply. We don't know them before. They applied and just submitted in. So the day they got the invitation to Twitch said he was just looking. And they called Gimba. They don't choose you to say, they choose me. Oh. The guys, the jury who checked them don't know them before. They just chose them because they felt like we are ready for this thing too. If it goes, it goes. If it goes, it doesn't go. And that's what passion is about. If you are not choosing them, that's how they say the story outside. It's like we both of us just apply. It is not your role as a music business executive to determine what someone does with their passion, whether they take it above or take it behind. If you deal with that, you never make it out alive. And you never get to become anything. It's the truth. The successful managers of the world are those who have looked at their talent and says this talent has done everything that needs to be done. They are putting everything important behind their work, and now it's my turn to take them out there. If you find a talent who has not done that, is telling you that it's my passion, but he has $10,000 to do party, but he doesn't have $10,000 to do release album. He has $10,000 to do Valentine for girl, but he can't put it. He's telling you to please manage 2K. And you are collecting 100K for him per month. I believe you are the manager, you are the jobless person. You need a new job. Thank you very much. Thank you, all over Africa. Okay, so the next chapter, I think it's chapter C, right? Or D? Okay, C. I was on MBA last year, and that MBA last year was probably one of the ones I felt like I don't see far, so I didn't know there was going to be MBA again. And so this one, I was just freestyling. It was one of those MBA I didn't prepare for. I was just like, okay, let's just go in. Let's see what people talk about. And after the MBA, usually after the MBA, a lot of people will tag me. Hey, Iri said this, Iri said that. Most of the time I'm shy. But so I don't feel proud. I just retweet. And then somebody came and say, hello, hi, thank you. I saw you on MBA. I was like, oh, thank you. I was doing the whole thank you. And then months after, somebody just came and said, I like what I'm learning at MBA, but I don't think that that's all there is to it. And I'm just thinking the full shot to say, whatever it needs to be done practically, I want to do it. Just put me anywhere. But I'm sure what I'm learning is not enough. And I think I can do better than what I'm learning. And it's funny because that was just some months back. And it's months now. Ayobami Shitu, who will be reading part C, is now handling digital marketing and label services. Digital marketing, right? For 1789 and Dini Cross. Ayobami. So guys, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to have her read our own, and I'm going to have Ayo read next. Then I'm going to take both together so that we can cut time.
Hello everyone. My name is Ayobami, and I'll be reading part C of the book. It's titled Aggregation and Valuation of Music Rights. So, copyright is a legal term used to describe the rights that creators have over their literary and artistic works. Works covered by copyright range from books, music, paintings, sculpture, and films to computer programs, databases, advertisements, maps, and technical drawings, as quoted by World Intellectual Property Office. And in the whole chapter, I picked Horus Music Limited to talk about, because the chapter talks about like a bunch of labels that we have operating in Africa. So Horus Music Limited is a global digital distribution and label services company established in 2006 by Nick Dunn with its headquarters in Leicester, United Kingdom. Horus Music allows artists, labels, and rights holders to send their music to over 200 downloads, streaming, and interactive platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Vivo, 7 Digital, Spotify, Beatport, Deezer, Tidal, and also offers digital marketing and playlisting opportunities. Their services don't stop at music distribution. Horus Music Nigeria continues to empower independent artists by offering advances to further their careers, offset against streaming royalties only. In 2021, their artists enjoyed television exposure, direct marketing opportunities from key DSPs, international conferences and panels, workshops, guerrilla marketing across Lagos bus routes, international collaborations, music publishing opportunities, advances unlocked from their streaming royalties, and much more. Horus Music Nigeria understands that Afrobeat is more than putting melodies together to create a tune that would become the hottest or sweetest rhythm. It is a common ground for the coast of Africa and lovers of homeland rhythm from across the world to identify with one another. Horus Music Nigeria champions the need to develop the market reach of their independent artists through collaboration to ultimately achieve bespoke fan sharing, audience trading, and culture blending, beginning with the music collaboration between South Africa leading youths on the rise, Benny Afro, and Nigerian sensational artist, singer, which creates the sound of bonding across our regions via music. Horus Music is focused on working with local digital platforms in all territories around the world. They provide video distribution, physical distribution in the UK, numerous marketing services, and provide publishing through their sister company, Anara Publishing. Thank you all for listening to me.
Thank you, Ayo. PJ is all Pokes is also from MBA, and I've known Pokes for about 3 years. Every year when I come to MBA, for those in MBA, he's one who makes sure I attend. Even the ones I want to use slides to turn down, say no, the money, like no, this guy you must attend. And I think there's many reasons why, major reasons why MBA has been able to benefit very well from me, because anytime he's coming to call me, he has a way of talking to me to say, Iri, you must attend. You know, these people, he finds his way. And, you know, I really appreciate that, because he constantly reiterates the value that I bring to MBA. And that makes me not tired of attending MBA, because every year I just feel like I just come to talk to people every year and I don't see majority of the impact outside, because most people learn about music business, and when they learn it, they realize that it's tough work. A lot of people, it's tough work. So a lot of people after learning MBA, they're like, oh, I thought it was just an easy thing. I just be booking artists, I'm rolling with artists, and they give up. So I at the point I was getting really bored, and like, you know, the ones we've trained is enough. Let them go and do something with their life. But every year, it makes me attend. So thank you, PJ.
You're welcome.
PJ will be reading part D, if I'm correct. So I'll just take aggregation and valuation. With what's your title of your part again?
So I'll be reading.
That should be genres.
Hyper-local
genres in Africa. I think that makes sense also if you read it together, because that's how they flow. All right. So he's going to be reading about, I highlighted a part in the book about our own genres, not the ones we borrow, the ones that are indigenous to us. And, you know, you will read the introduction and some parts in it.
Hi, guys. My name is Pokes Jan, and I'll be reading part D of the book Music Commerce in Africa. This is one of my favorite parts of the book, because it actually talks about the different genres. I mean, African music is beautiful. African music is amazing, especially when you listen to something different from just everyday Afrobeat or Afrobeat. Hyper-local genres and the leading artists in Africa. In Africa, music is a combination of familiar, everyday sounds. It is our everyday lives woven into sounds, lyrics, vocal performances, and rhythmic body movement with no rules to the rhythm except that which the sound creates. It can move in any and every direction. We see genre as a medium of expression of different categories of emotions, cultures, and beliefs. Genre is not a box to us. Opemi Redumari.
I didn't say much about them, either good or bad. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is to let you guys see who these people are and what they do. Unfortunately, majority of them are white people's company. Majority of them are also led by white people. Few are black. Also, I wanted you to also read it and rejig you to let you begin to ask valuable questions. If they are making this X amount of money from our talent, how much are they making? And is that money staying in our country? Is that money staying in Africa? The knowledge that they have to run their business, how are they channeling it back to all of us? Do we have as much knowledge as they have in the next 10 years to be able to build businesses? If you also look at the majority of this genre, and you look at also the distributors for them, you realize that no local person is on this company, on these companies pushing our genre, but it's being distributed by these foreign companies. They are food for thought. And they are food for thought for people in the music industry. In the sense that whether you are making moral music, sexual music, immoral music, inspirational music, at the end of the day, you are still not making enough money for your own people and your community. It's still somebody out there that is making the money. When all is said and done, you are making money for somebody else and into other countries. All these distributors, particularly the ones from America, any money that, if you hear that Olamide is paid $200,000, American government has made 30% of that. The country making so much money from Nigerians right now in the music industry is America. Because for every royalty that needs to cross that continent to here, 30% is taken off. And that affects the valuation of our business. That affects the entire valuation of our industry. All this distributor has all the ledgers of records that ever happened to our music in the last 10 to 20 years. They handle the history of our music industry, but none of us in this room know about it. And so that's the question for the future. Is that going to be the same future where all of us in the room are 50 and 60? Is all the information that we need to be able to value our industry that sits in the aggregators' hand, will it still sit in their hands? And then the future we are as lost as our parents. Some of us have tried to make that impact. Like we've tried to begin to have deals that give us right to our data. We've been able to pay. But majority of distributors locally don't have that. Majority just send the album and the metadata and just send it over. They don't really care. Just take my information and give me money. Not knowing that that information is actually where the future sits. And I'll give you an example. When Abacha said all foreign companies should leave Nigeria, Polyphone, Parlophone, Sony, Universal, Atlantic, they all left Nigeria and left all their records. They burnt all their books. 6 years immediately after, remember we had Nigeria, where did we have that World Cup? Nigeria, no, before the one we won Atlanta 96. We won 96 and we did Nigeria 99. The one we won in 96 was where our music was supposed to be a global thing. In fact, K1 went on a boat tour to perform, and Barbados is one of the highest publishing royalties still get today. The songs that he sang, somebody made it into an album, and he makes about $12,000 thereabouts every year per annum from 1996. He sang and he did a performance song and somebody made it into a CD. That whole era was lost, and all the information in that era was burnt. So we are trying to value any artist that was big in the 90s, in 70s. You are going to have a break in transmission in book there. So all that era when Nigeria had that big fame in the world, there was no music going out of Nigeria. Even if music was going out of Nigeria, it probably was smuggled music. Nobody could record because of military. So people that, for example, people that were in the music industry that was calling for military to take over like a month ago, I was laughing because I feel like you will not have any industry anymore. All of you lack history. Yeah. In fact, it was so bad that people like Shina Peters were scared because he saw that he could continue making his music. He had to join Abacha's political party. A lot of people still attack Shina Peters today, but I think they are unfair. And there are people from Olu and Adenike School of Thought. Yes, people hang the morality question on Shina Peters' neck. That why would he go and be singing for Abacha? That's nonsense. But he's an artist who needs to survive. Majority of the artists there, a lot of artists, all the classic artists that you knew that were singing high life and they were popular in the 92, 90s, 1990s, late 80s, and early 90s. It was Abacha that destroyed their career. They had international deals that were terminated. Onye Kanwenu, Sonia Day, these are our high life king. Rex Lawson, Majek Fashek. None of them could go to any country. They couldn't leave the country. Everybody was trapped in. No, I'll probably stay it again. So, the data of that era is lost. So, anytime anybody comes and say, we want to buy catalog, we want to invest in catalog, that old 93 to 99, 6 years devalues the catalog. I'm not joking. There's no information in that era, so you can't value it. So it means that 6 years the catalog was not making money. So thereby, if you want to buy someone like maybe K1's catalog, Sikura Ide Barista's catalog, Nico Mbaga's catalog, that owes 6 years in your projection of what he has made in the last 10 to 20 years. In that era when they were hot, you can't find it. It's the same thing. And it's not just them. In the era where internet became a big thing, before monetization, we had bloggers. Bloggers now, because of enforcement, majority of them has deleted their data of illegal download, because even if they're not going to pay, we know that 1 million people downloaded a song from 360 knobs or 2 million downloaded from Niger Loaded. We could value our catalog that way. But the same thing happened. They too they don't keep information. So the information in that old era, gone. What's their name again? MultiChoice, who also has to be the largest TV network, cable station in Africa, who consumes and plays so much music that could give us data to know valuation. When they were brought to court, you know what they said? They said, no, they don't keep the information. So another valuation information, gone. So for us that are music business in this room, when people come to say, what's your current catalog? And they're saying, want to pay 2,500 to 25,000 to buy your whole album. Don't be angry. It's because the information to value your catalog does not sit with you. Somebody once said that while the valuation of Spotify is going up, the valuation of music is going down. Does that make any sense to anybody in this room? If it makes sense, you can tell me. How is the value of a platform going up, but the constituent of that platform is going down? It's simple. The reason it's happening is because what makes Spotify valuable, the entire information around Spotify is on Spotify. Spotify can know how many people visit it per day. Spotify knows how many people pay. Spotify knows how many. Once you ask all those questions, Spotify can answer 90% of it. But you see, all the music on that platform, even the one that has the highest streams, universal catalog, they can't answer that question. The maximum they can answer is how many streams and how many followers. But they can't answer who paid for what. How many paid person listens to this? Spotify will say, no, we can't give out that data. It belongs to us. Because the moment Universal knows that out of the 90 people paying, 80 people listen to Universal, it means that it's Universal that owns Spotify. Because without those 90 people, Spotify has no business. But what does that mean to us in Africa? What that means to us in Africa is that we need to start taking information as serious as much as the money. They call themselves aggregator. They say, hey, we are aggregator. You just take 25% of your revenue. The remaining 75%, you see, you are the richest guy. But they will raise more money before you. How come? Because they collect 25% from 50 other people. Makes sense to you? And then they have a business. And they keep proprietary information for themselves that makes them raise money. So even you as an artist, you've reigned for 10 years, you collect 75%, they take 25, the next 10 years you're not reigning. But the aggregator is still reigning. But the aggregator is using your own data to raise money. So I'm not saying you should go and meet an aggregator and say, I want a share of your business. You're using. No, that's not the question. The real question is, when the aggregators you are dealing with, whichever one of them in this market, The whole chapter is to open your mind to begin to ask the right questions. They aggregate your music, but do they send you back the right data? Can you use that data from aggregators to value your music? And will that change you? Which goes back to the next chapter. What genre is your client creating? Which aggregator cares for your genre? Because I see many people, oh, should I use Empire? Should I use TuneCore? In fact, to be honest with you, all these aggregators here, they only care about Afrobeat, songs that make money. They don't care about genre. They don't care about anything. So which brings me back to Adenike's question. That's another opportunity entirely. These genres make money, and I've said it several times, like, everybody wants to be Spotify and Apple Music, but you don't need that. If you have an app in this Nigeria today that only aggregates local music, and you just have, in 2 to 3 years, you're able to run your app very well, 500,000 people out of 200 million are subscribing to you and are paying 500 naira every month, you're already a billionaire. Even if you are paying artists 70% of that royalty. Not to even say that most people who subscribe to you will end up grow through the funnel of asking for more. You can build ticketing verticals on that 500,000 people. You can build live events vertical on that 500,000 people. You do not need to have 1 million. As a business person, you can't be thinking like an artist. It's artist that wants to have 10 million people and you just need 1 million people to pay 500 naira every month. And every state in Nigeria can also achieve that. Let me be honest with you. Somebody can say, I'm building an app, and that app, anybody can customize it to become any music app in any state. And in this state, it's just Yoruba music play. It's like radio. No matter how small your radio is, you will get somebody who is willing to play for ads. So we need to start thinking how we can use our own revenue, our own system to make money. Spotify is never going to promote Fuji. Spotify, Apple, they are never going to promote Fuji. Don't worry. They will promote African music. It's just like Grammy will never have a Fuji award until Fuji becomes native to America. Maybe when those travel to America now have a community, now start singing Fuji. Then Rihanna start singing Fuji. Maybe. But it's just a blatant truth. So you have opportunities. I still say it now. I know that Davido tried to close out National Stage, what do you call that place? CBS. But don't worry, no Afrobeat artist will close out that place. It's only 2 people. Gospel and Fuji people. Those are the 2 people that will close out that stadium. And that answers every question about opportunity in our market. We have the North, who in the next 5 years will now have phones. They have not witnessed majority of the things that we've witnessed. And the next 5 years, because of the low cost of internet, the low cost of mobile phone, internet penetration, education, in the next 5 years, the people that will be paying for music the most is not going to come from the South. I told you that first. They don't even have as much stars as us. They are not as open to music. So most of the stars that will come from, they'll probably just be 5, 4, 2. But they will pay heavily for music and they will determine the market, because the moment they all have phones and there's no blog to download, just what happened to us in the last 5 years is about to happen to them for the next 5 years. And they're not the only one. You also have the way Facebook and Google is doing the internet, what do you call that thing that they are building across Africa? They call it the Chinese train or whatever, where Mali, Benin Republic, all these countries are now having cheap internet now. So the next 5 to 10 years is not what we are talking about. The next 5 to 10 years is going to be money bag for music and film. But obviously about music now. People who can't pay for music will suddenly start paying. People who can't go for shows will suddenly start attending. So while majority of us are trying to focus on being Spotify and Apple Music, what we should be focusing on is how to aggregate our local music, how to aggregate the right information. And somebody doing something spectacular in a very little way like that is Turntable Chat. They've not created anything specifically. They've only been able to be the source to aggregate all the digital information and to put it out there. They've been able to plug themselves in stage 2 of artist's career, where they want to be known and noticed. And they're monetizing. Turntable Chat is monetizing that space very, very well. Right? So these 2 parts is where opportunities is majorly. The aggregation, the valuation, and our local music. Our local music will survive Afrobeats. Our local music survived dancehall, don't forget. They survive even Afrobeat by Fela. And they will still survive this Afrobeat also. It is just what it is. Because you know why? No matter where we go, our culture will follow us. It might not be the loudest, but it will always continue to exist. It will be sustainable. I know artists who are Afrobeat artists who are not making, they've been popular ones and they're not making $1,500 a month. And I know a classic artist who has been dead in like about, say, 10 years that is making $2,000 a month. So I just say that don't limit your value to the little things that you come across. Right? Don't limit your value to say it's Afrobeat. Like in Africa, we have roughly about 25 genres. And out of all those 25, at least 10 has witnessed world stage. Highlife has witnessed world stage. Fuji has witnessed world stage. Juju has witnessed world stage. In fact, to be very honest, Adekunle Gold is not leaving Afrobeat to Juju, obviously. I've started seeing that in his sound. If Ashake was properly categorized, it's not Afrobeat, it's Tungba. It's a variation of Fuji. Right? So we cannot control what the future will become. But there's so many opportunities, even for talents, even in the music industry, to dip into those data. Like Ezekiel is in this room, he can corroborate my statement. There's, in the last decade, out of the top 10 songs that was released, at least 5 of them sample classic songs. Ezekiel, am I wrong? If they don't sample Secret Ide Barrister, they sample K1. If they don't sample K1, they sample Aruna Shola. If they don't sample Aruna Shola, they sample Rex Lawson. You see those 4 people. I'm just waiting for women to start sampling Salawa and this woman, Oyeka Onwenu. Yeah. But in the last 10 years, when you look at all the top 10 songs, when you isolate, by the time you listen to 5, and it's crossing over to America, we start seeing so many producers now taking our artists, even contemporary artists, not old one, now sampling them into their music. I mean, Veronica Vega on 1 Million is an example, where Ayo the producer sampled Ishe Oluwa Kosenitoye. Like Ayo the producer sampled a song that was released in 1991 from an artist who is from South America that's never been to Nigeria before. And guess what happened to Veronica Vega? Half of our fan base are now Nigeria. If you check our status, you see US, Nigeria, because of that song. There's this other lady on Twitter that's a social sensation that had the video on her song that now speaks pidgin English on Twitter. Yeah. So that's the power of our genre. That's the opportunity in it. And the opportunity is endless. They're like in fact, if all of us start choosing, all of us, let's do 2-2 and let's go and capture one state. Let's just create an app for one state. All their music, all their radio station, let's just put it there. If we capture them and be able to get 100,000 in that state and they pay us 500 naira every month, we are okay. It is still what is powering blog business in Nigeria too. That's why blogs still survive. Because you see Nigerian blogs by another young kid coming up, he's just uploading Fuji song, just uploading an iLife song. And when you go and check his ranking on Alexis, very, very low. But when you go to Google AdSense, you see the boys. The website is getting $1,000, 200,000, 3,500, 18. Random boy with his laptop in his room. Making money that all of us in this room are not even making. Because I don't think all of us here are making 1,815 every month.
No.
Right?
Not yet.
So thank you very much. Do I have questions? So we take the last 2. Any question? Okay, so thank you very much, Ayo. Thank you very much, PJ. So with me, I have Ayo. Ayo female, Ayo male, and I have Feifei. Where you are right now is where you've always prayed for. Yes or no? Is there anybody in this room that is where their hand is not where they've always prayed for? If anybody raises their hand, I can bust that person. Yeah. I'm not saying we don't want more. We want more. I want more. But there's nobody in this room, because I've known almost the person I've known in this room least youngest is Feifei. But I know everybody in this room, one way or the other, their career, I've always prayed for where they are right now. And it means it's a big deal, right? And I'm looking forward to 5 years from now, everybody in this room will become authority 5 years from now. Whether law, whether administration, whether music, I know, I can see it. I know for a fact. It's not because I'm joking about it. I'm not trying to wrangle you guys. So I'm only saying that take a piece from me and take someone under you, no matter how small. It can get hard, it can get bad. Don't expect people you take under you to not betray you or not talk bad about you. It's one of those things. Don't let that move you. What needs to move you is that you have more players in the music industry and you're 100% sure that wherever you get to in your life, you're never going to look at the business you're doing and it's going to be how you met it. I know majority of us fought our parents to have this career. True. Some of us are still fighting our parents till now because they think it's just a dumb thing to do, to live your life to focus on someone's life. Crazy, right? But I think that has happened because our parents have not seen a lot of successful people from this business. Right? They've not seen people make an impact from this business. So it's a case of worry and fear. So which brings us to the next two chapters, Faye and Ayo reading. So who is reading E? Okay.
Hi, my name is Fefe and I'll be reading part E. So case studies, the impact of music in business. The growth of tourism globally, for example, has pushed many cities to promote their music industries to draw visitors, in turn creating jobs and preserving culture. That should be music to everyone's ears. And this was said by Namita Data and Medha M. Nair. That's the word. Okay, from an excerpt of the World Bank, why policymakers should support Africa's growing music industry. So for the sake of people reading, I'll be reading page 243. And this has to do with the Merry-Go Kids. So what is Merry-Go Kids looking to achieve in Africa?
Go on. No, go on.
Okay. Oyebowale Akindende replies saying, there is a dearth of quality content that focuses on entertaining and educating African children, families, and children of African descent. And that was the main issue we set out to tackle. There is really no Afrocentric programming that reaches and engages the African child globally. What we are trying to do is to become the market leader that will provide content of choice to kids and families. We do this by providing content to educate and entertain them. There are also a lot of other problems in African values are being eroded, and we are losing our cultural heritage quickly. You find kids speaking more and more alternatives outside Africa. We need to document and showcase our cultural heritage. We also let parents and guardians use our community to make children see cartoon characters just like them, which helps them to understand our indigenous culture and heritage, because the exposure to them means a lot. If children keep on searching online and cannot see cartoons that look like them, they will start wishing they had blonde hair or were white princesses. These are real life scenarios, and you see it all the time. That's all we're trying to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Fefe. Can you please clap for her? I think I'll just do so that I won't take too long and wrap that. So Ayo, prepare for your own word. That chapter is exactly what I said Adenike should wait for and Olu of Africa should wait for. I just used that chapter to interview a lot of people from Infinix to ITEL, people who had used music one way or the other, and it has changed their business. And I'm not just going to talk too much about this because it's personal to the business, but you can research about it. I'll give you, for example, I was the one who handled the Infinix Davido deal when it started out. And I can remember somebody saying to me in the room, before the deal, Davido, mobile phone. Is anybody going to buy a mobile phone because of Davido? It doesn't make sense. So I looked at my Chinese boss and I said, I can put my salary on the line. If this phone doesn't sell, whatever deal, I mean, Davido was paid a lot of money, so you can understand the bet I was making, but I believed in it. So we did the deal, and Obi Nagu, we settled with our friends now, went online and did a thread of how Infinix was foolish for signing Davido and how Davido would not make sale. Ladies and gentlemen, the first time Infinix would sell more than 1 million phones in the first 1 week was when they signed Davido. Clap for them.
I mean, they could have listened to that error. Yeah, they could have listened to that error of people whispering around. I was the room and I told them, I said, if the video does not sell you, if the video doesn't sell you 5 million of this X phone, you can have my money back. The video sold 8.5 million. And that is why the video is going nowhere with Infinix. Trust me, they will never leave him alone. Yes. And you see, that's what it means when I say follow the impact, track the narrative, and push it forward. If I was not in that room, Transsion does not used to sign. This is Ajiri here. Transsion doesn't sign artists. They don't think it works. The people that used to be in the room used to echo it that which artist cannot sell phone? Artist sell phone. Now, Transsion has all the superstars signed. Transsion has David. Transsion has Olamide. Transsion has Tiwa. Transsion has Fireboy. Transsion has Two Face. Transsion has Burna Boy. They're even currently chasing Wizkid. Exactly. So it's my advice to you, executive, like when you go into the room and say stuff and people try to talk you down, tell them to fuck off. Tell them I said that. You can lie about that from me. Yeah, because people don't see the impact. So they think that it's not worth it. They think it's not true. And because we also don't talk about, we talk about numbers, we celebrate awards, we are not bullish about the result and the impact. When Infinix signed Olamide, I know he didn't read that excerpt, but ITEL signed Olamide. I interviewed Oke, he was supposed to be here also. Oke spoke about it. ITEL is not more seen as a low-end brand anymore because of that endorsement. ITEL itself is now creating high-end smartphone. They're about to cross over into the market. Oraimo used to be a low-end business. Now they have Burna Boy as their global ambassador. That's the impact. When Infinix signed Olamide, I traveled to East Africa. When Infinix signed the video, it was supposed to be West Africa deal. Because, okay, let's be moderate. I went to East Africa, Kenya. 2 weeks after, we saw Davido's billboard with Infinix in the middle of CBC, the Central Business District. So I called Infinix guy. I was like, but I thought the East African team said it's a lie. They want it. They are just joking. It's driving sales. That is why I was talking about impact in the beginning. And that is why I came back to it to now draw. There are many examples. There are many people that I interviewed in that talking about how they are not in the music industry. They have nothing to do with the music industry, but they bet on bringing a product from the music industry into their own sector, and it changed everything about their business. Well, I won't answer that question, but that's what Davido's do. But that's one of the impacts of music in business. And the ones you are very common at all is clubs. Right? The ones you're also very, very common about is radio. We can go on and on to talk about our music impacts radio. And we can go and talk about social media like TikTok. If there's no music, is there TikTok? But can anybody conveniently tell me how much TikTok is making from our music in Nigeria? In Nigeria or in North Africa? Can anybody tell me what taxes are coming from TikTok to Nigeria? So if you ask me about opportunity, that's somebody using our own industry to acquire huge talents in Africa, young and old, but nothing is being paid and nothing is being brought back. It's food for thought. There are questions. I mean, I have used my own early career to answer questions like people should pay for music should be used well, artists should have manager, road managers should not be manager. You know, I started my career demystifying all those ones, and I'm glad the industry is here today. All those questions have been answered. We are entering another new era where, okay, you are paying us, but is what you are paying enough? We know the impact of our business. I mean, the new Copyright Act, I did not know the new Copyright Act was going to be swift. So when I was writing this, it was supposed to be a precursory statement to why businesses generally should be taxed. Lo and behold, the Copyright Act Buhari signed this year, every businesses, electronic makers, radio station, MTN, whether digital or physical, would now have to pay copyright levy into the music and film and editorial industry. Okay, give us a round of applause. And the reason I'm saying that is because, I've said it before, you are about to witness the industry that you've never known. There's going to be a lot of money. The question all of us will fight for in the face of big battle is who takes the chunk of that money. There are going to be people that want to say, oh, they've been in the industry for years, they deserve that money. There are going to be people that will say, no, we have the largest catalog, we deserve that money. There are going to say, we are the highest streaming in this industry. We are the highest booked. Those conversations are going to happen in the next 6 months, guys. It's going to happen in the music space, in the film space or the visual space, in the broadcasting space, and the editorial, like literary workspace. Those are the 4-5 ones that the law recognizes. And so when these taxes start happening, when they start stopping all of you at the airport and telling you to pay for your own open laptop, on your open phones for copyrights, and you guys are paying about 100 naira, 200 naira, and they are taxing every entity in Nigeria. It is projected that in a year, it will clock about 2 billion naira in the first 1 year. And that 2 billion is going to be shared among those 5 categories. When it comes to those 5 categories, the law says only one organization can represent sound recording. Only one organization can represent musical works. And when all those money, let's assume that 2 billion is now shared to 5 places. We already know the amount. So the question is, those money, in whose account will they go to? Yeah, those battle is about to commence. If some of you think it's not your battle and you keep quiet, you're just joking with your old age. The impact will not get to you. If you think it's not my business, they won't pay me. You're going to see people start building houses for music, but they are not involved in music. They don't even know what's going on. I won't mention somebody, but there's somebody who has retained the leadership of a music organization. And the rules of that organization says that that person must have 1 song in every 3 years. So this old man every 3 years releases 1 song and post it on OGTV. None of you know, but he has fulfilled the legal requirements. And he gets about 800,000 every month on that music board. These are all the impacts that you are not aware. I was in a meeting and they said Transsion needs to pay for music that they play on the road in Computer Village. And somebody in the room said, why should we pay for music? We are helping the artists. And you know what? I was working for Transsion then, so no issues. And I said, there's no problem. When you guys are going for your marketing next time, don't play music. The artists say they don't need your help. This is their letter. If you play their music, they will arrest you. So they left. They said, okay. Then in about 5 minutes, they called me back again. I said, what happened? I said, Omo. The people we call, they do activation. All people that dance. When they said, those ones say they can't do activation without music. It's not going to work. I said, yeah, don't worry now. The artists don't need your help. Oh, yeah, go and do your. She be Transsion as campaign producer. We have call new producer. Let's make 5 new beats. They say, people don't dance on no beats now. I said, okay. Do you know any artist? He said, that Shebi we have Odunlade, we have this one. So tell those ones to send you all their song personally via their email that they won't pay for music. They say, yes, I know Konga, I know this person, I will call them. He said, okay. 2 days later, but none of them, the answer. They don't need your help now. Go. A week later, the head legal came down and said, like, we have to pay for this music thing. No shop is taking our phone. They are saying that we are not paying. Because CMOs were going to all the shops. Slots. What's that one again? 3C Hubs, Digital Square. And those ones will say, go back to Transsion. It's Transsion that owns the phone. We are playing music for Transsion. And those ones now say, Transsion is not paying for music. We are not selling phone. And that's how Transsion started paying about 6 million then per annum for music rights. So if we are in the room that call ourselves music business expert, music business professionals, do not assert that this is the impact of our work, our client's product, and somebody, people who enjoy it or people who give other people to enjoy it must what? Must pay. Case closed. If they are not paying, they should do what? Don't bother. And it's the same thing. It happens to cinemas. Cinemas say they won't pay, that we should go and meet the movie makers. The movie makers say they're not the one exhibiting film. People need to buy film at home. The Tayo called me, my friend at film, and said, we have cinema. How can we pay for music? I said, bro, don't worry. When it gets to the part of the music, mute it. Tell people in the hall that's the option. He said, either you are mad. I said, but that's the only option. Film one now pays for music. All I'm just saying is, in that chapter, is we must recognize the impact of music in our society and begin to ask to get paid. Thank you, everyone. So, Aya, you're next. Do you need? Okay. Yeah. So I think this is the final chapter.
All right, so good evening, everyone. I'm reading from part F on page 255, and I'll read the introduction and also a part of it that stuck out for me. The title is Investment in People, a Growth and Development Strategy, and it starts with a quote from Okoyemi Idoedumare. Africa can only grow when we prioritize the intellectual capacity of Africans, to invest in the abilities of Africans to be able to think, dream, achieve, and prosper, to think of redistribution of wealth and knowledge as a necessity and act accordingly. Then to a part that talks about a case study from India, on page 258, the last paragraph there. India first got high-speed internet across the country in the early 2010s, and digital conversion moved largely at a standard pace. In 2016, Mukesh Ambani launched Reliance Jio, a 4G mobile network which offered customers 4 gigabytes of data a day for free for 6 months. The results were dramatic. Within 6 months of Reliance Jio's launch, India became a top mobile data user across the world, consuming over 1 billion gigabytes of data every month, in comparison with 200 million gigabytes earlier, wrote Niharika Sharma in an article. Reliance Jio cheap data turned India's internet dreams into reality. After the 6-month pilot program, Reliance Jio held prices at extremely cheap rates, and this unprecedented pricing inarguably propelled India's internet economy forward in a record fashion. Most notable was the scale of the campaign insofar as it was able to activate the population across all socioeconomic segments. With Jio's cheap data prices and other freebies, Ambani made way for millions of poor Indians to enter the internet age by making surfing the internet as cheap as buying a samosa or a cup of tea. The purpose of sharing this anecdote from India is not just to showcase the magic pill that was Reliance Jio. In fact, it is to establish with a real example how lowering the cost of access to data can profoundly change the landscape of a music industry. Should a handful of governments join forces to create a friendly regulatory environment encouraging this kind of large-scale investment in the telecom sector, it will have a tremendous effect on the music industry as we know it on the continent. This may seem like wishful thinking, but given the context of increased emphasis on Africa's soft power as a counterweight to the age-old trope of resource cost, the impetus for radical or otherwise subversive action, as we saw in India, to achieve radical results is stronger than ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo. I think that this is a very good way to end the book. And I'm naturally an investor in people. Like, I rather invest in people than invest in things. And that's just me. Not to say people who invest in things don't do well. And it is only an investment in people that can develop the music industry. The music industry is an intellectual property-driven industry. That is, people need to create, think, ideate before we can make money. And the reason why Temilade Adeniji, the GM of Wana for Africa, wrote that statement of confidence is to reiterate the belief or the popular saying that Africa is actually rising. I know majority of us don't know that because maybe we are too submerged in the negativity around Africa, in the poverty porn that is being traded in Africa. We don't know in Africa that they are richer than the Western world because in the index of the Western world, for example, they don't know that every one of us in this room have inherited lands. In America, you don't inherit land. Majority of the blacks don't inherit land. You have to buy it by what? Mortgage. But is there any one of you here that can boldly say that if you trace it back, you don't have land that your forefathers has given to you? But they don't add that into the index of wealth. They think that they think that the price of cement is equal to the number of houses that we have. But unfortunately, even in my hometown, people still bring strong houses with mud houses and just scrape it with cement, and it looks good inside. So when they talk about housing, they don't calculate all those ones. They only go and look at how many cement Dangote BU are sold. I use that to calculate the number of houses in Africa. All I'm just saying is that Africa is rising and Nigeria is at the tip of the spear. Majority of you don't see it because, unfortunately, we don't know what development looks like. We don't know how development happens. So we are still stuck in the past. But the truth is, somebody released and said that for some reasons, hip-hop and rap is tanking in the US. But you know what they did not do? They did not tell us the reason why it is tanking. That was an intentional act, by the way, guys. If you guys have seen that report, it is very intentional, because if you say there's 4 pies on the table and 4 used to be eaten, and you came back to meet 2, the next question is, why is there 2, right? Why did they answer the question of 2, only 2 is being eaten, but didn't tell us why the remaining 2 is not being taken anymore? Because it's Afrobeat. It's Afrobeat and Latin music, with Afrobeat being the fastest growing one amongst them. Now, I can begin to tell you on and on and on and on about all the success story locally that is not getting to the global stage, or the one we are doing in global stage that the global community is ignoring. The only reason why it's easier for us to celebrate 80,000 for Wana is because for some reasons, nobody documented the fact that the band had such kind of audience in the World Cup, and they also sang I'm on Top of the World, who actually had a global radio hit after his performance. This is not even streams. While we were talking about Burna Boy doing 80K shows, we were talking about the same for Rihanna. But we saw as the media was merging her streams with her performance. But nobody was doing that for Burna. We have global superstars that are about 12 right now that are dominating hits and everywhere. Nobody's talking about narratives around them. Nobody's putting them on the global stage. Nobody's telling them their story for the world to monetize or to look into. Why? Because we've not invested in people to do that. We've invested in lawyers, we've invested in accountants, but we've not invested in media practitioners who are able to carve out stories of an individual and sell it to the world to sell. It's the same thing that is happening in the film industries, where we have directors who are excellently good, and they are fighting for maybe to just carry gaffer lights in one big Hollywood movie. We are doing poor, absolutely poor. Yeah, we are doing well with MBA. We are doing well with maybe all this training, but MBA just teaches you the rudimentaries. MBA doesn't tell you or help you with career path or career defining. And if we do not begin to invest in people to define career path, Afrobeat is going to die like reggae and dancehall. I'm just being honest with you. Well, Afrobeat is getting it better. I mean, we have Afrobeat artists being represented by African lawyers, right? African PR experts, African managers. So that's better. It quite bit better, but dancehall. But it still doesn't absolve us of the risk of that death that might happen. Because reggae and dancehall was more like an immigrant music. So when it came to America, it was managed by white people, white lawyers, white managers. So they had no emotional attachment to preserve the song to continue its lifespan. It was just pick this person, make it blow. When it don't blow, throw him away. Pick this one, when it don't blow. Which is what some white-headed distributors are doing right now. And it's a good thing because they are bringing their money in. It is our own job to match it with a push. Yes, you want to give my artist $100,000. You want to put 80K to marketing. That marketing, half of it is Nigeria. I don't care. You can spend the remaining 40, because when you say you're spending the money in 80K US, you are paying somebody those money in the US now. So why is my artist album feeding people? Why is an African album feeding 80% of his budget is feeding people in America, but 20% is going to his continent? We must begin to fight people who bring money to us to allow us to grow our people. Not when I mean fight, I don't mean, brawl, but standing your ground. Like, I get you are helping me because you're bringing in money, but in the way you're helping me, you need to also allow me invest in those around me. Which is why I can say to you now, The United Masters deal, this is exclusive, but it's okay on camera, took me about 9 months. Took me about 4 or 5 months to negotiate, and it's taken us about like 9 months to announce, because we wanted a different path than anybody else. You know, we wanted an investment that allows us to invest in others. We didn't want an investment that will stop at SARS and the little people that it picks. We wanted a democratized investment, an investment that comes in and allows us to wake up and say, okay, this year, I want to put the money in film, and I want all my artists to feature in film. I'm not doing music. This year, I want to put it in live, and we are going to be developing the live industry. We had to do that. And that's an example of being an investor in people. Fighting for the opportunity, for the money, for the pipe to open up so that it can flow through for others. If we constantly continue to fight for how the money stops at our table, you will get the money. But I give you a decade, the money is over. I've seen a lot of, because of my valuation experience, I've seen contracts like Onyeka Owenu getting paid $100,000 in the 90s with a full band truck given to her. I've seen Sonia Ade have a contract of about $20,000 in the early 90s. I've seen all those money in documents, and I ask myself, why does the money stop here? Where is the impact? Nobody should be paid that kind of amount in the early 90s and still be trying to get political position or be dragging MCSN leadership. There's a fundamental problem, because when the money comes in, the money goes into the artist's pocket, the manager's pocket. The manager doesn't hire anyone else. They don't develop anyone else. Everybody's trying to become manager, and they're trying to poach each other's clients. It's terrible. So when you think about investment in people as maybe I'm trying to develop other people and share my money, no. Because all of us, there'll be so if you guys don't know, every 4 years, every 3 to 4 years, there's always a new set of artists. When those new set of artists come and somebody has developed them, then there'll be them Egbon Adugbo. We call them Egbon Adugbo. They start speaking to your artists. I can do better than you. They're just Egbon Adugbo. They are cut across many things. So they are lawyers, they are managers, they are OAPs. They've always been there. All they do is they just sit on the sideline. They are waiting for one artist to pop. Then they go to the artist's DM. I can do better than you. This person is small. I was the one that used to manage the band. I took this person to Jamaica. The reason why they are doing that is because they've refused to invest in people. Every time they made money in the past, they spend it, they eat it, they do the whole shebang. So when the artist is not popular again, day 2, they go back to zero. Before you know, 6 months, 3 months, the manager too is broke. He lives in a big house, drives a big car, he's just looking for the next artist to swindle. They think it's a sharp way. They think it's a forward-looking way to make business. But I just want to tell you, as a music executive, it's wrong. You have the opportunity to build future. You have the opportunity to build people behind you who will fill each space that you leave in such a way that when talents come into this space, you're able to delegate talent to each level. You have people for each level the talent is going through. So you'd never have to fight anybody to say, this person's clients, boy, they pay money, make I go attack them, make I go make this person look bad. You don't need all that. Investment in people is the only way we don't have to be fighting over split sheet again. I mean, we are grateful. People don't fight over split sheet now anymore. 5 years ago, Reminisce is my friend, so I can say this. He calls me and say, for those who hear Yoruba, I'll translate it. He goes, Ire, boss, what did I do? Okay, let me just say it in English. Reminisce called me and says, I'm going to deal with all of you. All of you. I'm going to make sure all of you, shoot all of you. Like, sir, what did we do? So you guys are teaching producers how to be greedy. Me. He said, what the hell is this split sheet that they're asking for? After I've paid all of them, and he went on and on. I said, let me just come and see you. It's the song that we've released. They want to be collecting share of it. I said, no. I said, there's a money that you have that you yourself, you're not touching, you're not collecting. And the reason you can't collect it is because your producer and yourself don't have agreement. He said, where is that money? I said, it's there. It's different from the one that you are getting. He said, He said, me, Omo, bring the document, let's sign it. That's purely investment in people. When we started the first publishing company that focused on producers, and we call it GLMP, and we wrote to COSON, MCSN was bad then. And we said Koson should tell us how they've been paying royalties. And they came back and said, we pay all the songwriters. I said, you pay all the songwriters, which one? And they say, all the artists. I said, who told you there's the artist that wrote the song? And I remember Chief Okoroji saying, the producers compose song. I said, yes. He said, no, producers are just engineers and they're in the studio when they're recording the song. I said, sir, they compose song. The producer that you are talking about is producers in the 90s that just sit in the studio and bring band. But you see, producer has evolved though. Now they are the band. He said, so you mean we have to share this money now and be giving other people? So we owe people money. I said, no, you don't owe people money. But going forward, we have to pay producers. That's what investors and people do. You can think that some people know something, they should know. But the truth is that they don't know, particularly in this Nigeria. Anytime you think people should know, you best rest assured that they don't know. But that's also the impact, because that single act of going to Koson, standing our ground that producers need to get paid, made Koson to now start dividing publishing revenue into two. Writer on one side, producer on one side. Something they refuse to do in about 6 years. Even producers don't even know about the money. But guess what? Koson was licensing their catalog out to people. Filmmakers, TV station, they don't care. And guess what? Koson was taking people to court. Now, the person was doing something illegal, was taking people to court for doing something illegal. Yeah. But it is only investment in people that can end that kind of era. It is only investment in people that can make us begin to have questions. I'm so sorry, but they invite me to US meetings, and last one I went, I really sounded interested because everybody keeps going to that meeting, but nobody's there to say the most important thing. Managers, is there any manager that you know in Nigeria that earns 30% of artist royalty? Is there anyone that know any manager here? I don't earn that. And I don't know any manager that earns 30% of artist royalties. I also don't know any lawyer that earns more than 15%. It's me that I'm trying to push 20, but even that one, I get artists will push back and call me in the middle of the night. Why my 20% is that much? Middle, 2 a.m. I just checked this money now. This 20% is too much. But you're receiving 80. Now, if we say that we, the players, none of us are receiving that much, why is withholding tax in the US 30%? And why is nobody bringing it up with the US consulate when they go for all that meeting? I've seen about 7%, 7 of it this year. If truly US believes in our market and we believe in them helping us and we are forging a growth future, why are you taking 30%? Why is there no a treaty on that? Right? So I'm just rounding it up as we've gotten to an era where we cannot be complaining anymore. The era that we are in now is an era of, it is there, I'm going to do it. And I need to build people who to follow me to do that fight, which is what this is all about today. I carefully invited people here because I feel like all of you, one way or the other, are thought leaders in your little space where there's going to be really big money in current 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Because majority of these foreigners are going to come and start signing your artist, your friend. It's going to happen. What you see that happened to Grammy is a precursor of what is coming. They are seeing the data before you. So when they react to what they've seen, you don't know. You think it's just that slot that was formed in Grammy is going to be a voting slot. And every voter that will vote for artists, they will pay $500. So it's not free. We'll start from that. Secondly, because a new category now exists in that Grammy, a lot of digital distributors will now start looking for all the songs mentioned in that category. So if you have any artists represented in that category, start getting ready. What that signifies again to your market? Capital flights. Money is moving out of your market into another market, and you are here just servicing that market. So I implore you, I beg of you, to begin to think. As music, passionate, I get you. But you can only have the last smile if you see the music as a business not just as a passion. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I do appreciate you. I know we don't have time, but does anyone want to do questions? Okay, Olu.
This has been a very enjoyable evening. Thank you very much for all the information. My question is, the new categories for the Grammy Award, and one of which is the Best African Vocal Performance, and I think it's great, but how does it affect our local awards like the Eddies, for example? Because I feel like a lot of our artists may now start to position for that category, and that's kind of be like the social proof of who is doing well. And in traditional fashion, you might start looking down on the other, even when people are doing their Eddies, Kotigba. For those who don't understand, you guys, he has collected Eddies, he has not collected best vocal, so it kind of downplays. And so what does that do for our local awarding system and the appreciation of our music and the results that our musicians are having in the local space?
I think I'll just comment first of all about our award system here locally is horrible. It's not transparent. People don't know how it's decided. So even Turntable Chart has more rating than Eddies now among the new cards. So there's something that we do in Africa that I must call us out for. We cannot take our own substandard good to the global market and expect it to all of a sudden, because it's African, we'll support it. Majority of us know what is good. And you know what the best is, I can tell you. Do you know that music video is more expensive in Nigeria than US? And do you know that our videos are better than their own? Do you agree? Exactly. If we can spend so much on our videos, and our videos are now beginning to be BET choice over local black artists in America, you guys don't know that's what's going on. That's what 50 Cent is saying, by the way. 50 Cent 50 Cent, and 50 Cent wanted to buy BET. He didn't have the money. So he went to go and whisper to Tyler. Tyler has bought it now. So E2, 50 is trying to buy a TV station in one of the states in California. He has been posting about it. He wants to buy Steers. It's Steers that his eyes is on. He's intentionally posting about Steers' lack of success so he can take it over. But you know why they are doing that thing? It's because of our booming market. They have no intention of showing white content on that way, but they see what is going on the continent. And they realize that those paying for the content that is coming from this continent are in the US. All I'm just trying to say is that we are sometimes scared that we might have global domination. But global domination will never happen if we standardize our own business. It's that simple. It's like our fashion. Our fashion has not gotten any export office to take it. But because our fashion has been standardized, you can see the way our fashion stylists are working. If Dolce & Gabbana is stealing and Apple is saying, I'm not surprised that will happen. Because when it's like the Chinese will say, everybody wants something good, don't tell me not to steal it. Yeah. If you think that your thing is good enough, protect it. Don't tell anybody not to steal it. If Eddies knows that they are the leading Afrobeat awards in Africa, they are not going to be doing an award ceremony in US. They will spend that money locally and make it a festival. Eddies will partner with Eyo Festival in Lagos that is music focused and begin to promote that local music. Eddies will go to Tinapa and see how they can help Tinapa become big. They'll begin to weave themselves into development here. Nobody in US watches Eddies. Except maybe people online that are just trying to catch bands with us. Am I correct? So we have to, and I'll give you another example. There was a time when Nigerians artists they don't mix their songs. Once they get the mix down and the producer is asking for money, just distribute it like that. Did anybody tell Nigerian artists to be mixing their song now? Why is Olamide mixing the song now? No, it's the truth now, because I remember that time Bolaji would tell me nobody cares about mixing songs. Why are they doing it now? Yes. if you want to compete at the globe, and that doesn't go for our award zone. I'm talking to everybody here. Majority of you who has dealt with foreigners in your email, even though you try to be decorum and respectful, you sometimes can hear the condescending tone. It is because they can't deal with the fact that you are from Africa, but you are standardized. They hate the fact that you are not feeling that narrative. So you can hear the passive aggressiveness when you go and say, no, I want 10% on masters, I want 10% on publishing, and on the 10 million stream, I want to be able to get another 50,000 advance. In their mind, they're like, fuck you. Where are you? You're supposed to be from Africa now. Who's teaching you all this nonsense? Are you not supposed to just collect money and go? But even in legal business, you bring the standard to the table, you will see a difference. And that is all we need to do. We should not be scared of Grammy is choosing this one. Don't worry, Grammy is not competing with us. Because you know why? Grammy will not choose more than one artist at the end of the day for that award now. Yeah. But here we have local talent. Like, what Eddie should even be concerned about, first of all? You should first do Eddie's West Africa, first of all. Or even do Eddie's Africa. Conveniently partner with hotels to get artists across Africa to be able to sleep and get plane to take them back. Let's first start with that. Then conveniently give them an award that is backed with money. Not that after the award, before your plate even gets you, it has broken before it gets home. So I'm just being honest, because Edis cannot say he doesn't have money to do these things. You can't keep money from yourself. You can't refuse to not invest in people. You can't refuse to not drive impact, but you want yourself to be placed side by side for a global award. I see AMVCA, and I can tell you that AMVCA, if they continue this culture, it will get to a time where foreign movies will want to be named on AMVCA. It's normal, because they have every year, and it's not just that. Look at they are not just pushing movies. You see that they're intentional about the fashion. They're intentional about the breakout. Even the selection, even if you public people don't like it, it's their standard. It's until when they change that standard, they can appeal to the public. But if the standard at AMVC has not changed, they will not appeal to you. And that is Grammy for you. If you guys are calling for Africans to be represented, they created a category that represents you people, but they are not going to water that their standard because they need your acceptance. It's we Nigerians that do that stuff, which we need to change. We need to be able to create something that has a standard and it begins to grow. But not since they never see us, we go just wait for these people. When these people don't blow, we could copy them. It doesn't make us come out well. Right? On a good day, when you look at BET Awards and BET Channel, it's supposed to be dominated by blacks in diaspora and blacks locally. How many local content have you seen on BET? Like, okay, it's built in Nigeria. And, when you try to expand it to that side of music, you see, I ask myself, does any one of you, be honest with me, have any circle that you know in your life that fits into that richest from Africa? That show. Tell me, do you know any clique like that moves across in Africa that you know personally? So, if you are modeling content with all the brains in Africa, but you are not beginning to model content about rich Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills day here.
Beverly Lagos.
But you can't expect, when you keep doing stuffs like that, you can't expect your market to have a sense of genuinity. And when your market in creative industry, whether film, music, and everything, when genuinity cannot be associated with you, you've lost standard. There's no amount of padding that you can do. So Eddies have a lot of soul searching and building to do before anybody begins to compare what the impact of Grammy will have on them. And I just want to say, because anybody might know Eddies might see whatever this is. Eddies has the money. It has the capacity to do it. It just keeps enough money to itself and gives us what it thinks we can get. And if what it gives us is substandard, it's only a matter of time. Don't worry. If all turntable charts needs is money, once turntable chart starts its award, that's the end of Eddies. Nobody will watch it again. I'm being honest with you. Thank you very much. So we are done. So I think I think we are done. I think this is just meet and greet, and let's wrap up. All right.
Thank you so much for this, and I really had a great time listening to this. I want to take us back to somewhere in the book. I mean, we spoke about commerce, but I want to see how we can balance it with creativity, because I represent talent, some in the pipeline and some already exposed. But there's a narrative going on in the industry where we have artists rate their success according to their placement on the charts. Yes. I mean, I have an artist who's doing very well. Week in, week out is touring. I mean, raking in massive revenue. But has a problem, especially when he doesn't find his song on the top 20 or top 30. But this is an artist who's doing well compared to an artist who's in the top 10. How do we balance that? Because we're here to learn as well. And going back to educate this artist, how do we manage that? How do we change that mindset and make them understand that you're making money? And the artist that you're talking about who's on the top 10 is not making as much as you, is not touring week in, week out. You are on the road, but this guy is not on the road. So why are you complaining? So how do we balance that? How do we manage that?
I think that naturally we are artists. I said if artists are insane, artists and insanity are the same. But what I just want to say is that I can only give you my experience. I don't know the artist, right? And the reason why I say artist insane is that when everybody's looking something from a direction, artists might not see it from that direction. And you have to respect that, right? But my own experience that is similar to your own, I'll say it. And maybe you can take a cue from it and what I mean. Because I don't know how to answer what is in the mind of someone. I said there are 4 stages in an artist's life. They want to be heard, they want to be known, they want to make money, right? And then they want to have a legacy. You can have an artist who is making money, but has a mentality of stage 2. He is only lucky to make money because he has good managers or he has a trending song. So even though, from a management point of view, he is in stage 3, you guys are making money, but he has not mentally grown to stage 3. The artist is still in stage 1 and 2. So no matter what you try to do to justify, like, hey bro, we're already making money, why are you feeling bad? He is not mentally there. He's still mentally in, people don't see me, people don't know me when they walk on the road, people don't hail me. When I go to the club, they're hailing this guy. This guy just have like 20K streams, may have like 1 million. They're not why are they hailing him, not hailing me? Bro, if you do not know, when you go to club, if you do not know, artists count how many times they play their songs. If you go home as a manager, if you are done, they say they played this guy's song 4 times, they played my own 10 times, I felt good. You in your mind, you're like, that's nothing now. Sometimes, they play your song if I did here. So managers, when managers are having problem with that thing, when DJ used to be there, managers, once they enter club, just go and meet the DJ, bye-bye, beg. We go here in 2 hours. Play this song, play this song, play this song, rotate this one like 5 times. Manager will not tell artists that they did that. You must know how to manage your talent. Another one, 2018. A talent who was new. I still represent the talent. I'll mask the gender. It was telling me that I just want to be like this person. I can't see this, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Oh my God, get depression. So I just said, are you available this Saturday? It said yes. I said, okay. I said, I'm taking you somewhere. We're going to Ijebu. He said, what are we doing in Ijebu? I said, don't worry. I want to go and meet you. So I drove the person to K1's house. When we got to K1's house, I was like, wow. There's a lion, there's a tortoise, there's a... What? This is K1? It's a lie. I said, why is it a lie? Who listens to K1? I said, you are foolish. I said, do you know who sang Kiru, Kilele, or Manisho? He says, Olamide. I said, who's that voice is there? He said, is that K1? I said, yes. I said, did you know that the last election, 2015 election, is K1 that did all the 36 states? He said, but Baba, how that one can't turn to all this one? I said, see, that's the problem. When I came, I said, you are foolish, but let's go and see K1 first. And then when we entered the house, he kept turning around. I said, you don't see K1 song for Boomplay Discovery? He said no. You don't see him for chat? He said no. You see him for social media? He said no. So, how is he making money? If you can't find him there, he said, Baba, no, these people, they roll with politicians. I said, okay. He said, go on. What else? So by the time I was going to question, he said all the fantasy in his mind. It could be politician, it could be drug. He listed everything except music. And that is where the problem truly is. The mindset of an artist matters the most. If the artists see themselves as somebody who can only make money from being popular, from doing drugs, from becoming a politician, don't sell merchandise for them. Don't sell tickets for them. Don't build followers for them on social media. Take them to drug lords. This person likes to sing your music. They sing drug about drug. Both of you go to jail together. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? You cannot make an artist has already